Centricom Channel 10 Sports, ETV, and Mid-Utah Radio, the sports leaders in South Central Utah, now present another exciting high school sports broadcast, the Football State Playoffs. This broadcast is brought to you by sports-minded sponsors throughout Utah. And now, let's go live to the football field for simulcast coverage of high school football on Mid-Utah Radio, Centricom Channel 10, and ETV.
Now, welcome now to the Eccles Coliseum on the campus of Southern Utah University here with the semifinal game in the 2A classification.
Yeah, Scott Langford, Robert Lovell, and it is championship football, and it is a great venue and a great afternoon for football. Nice and cool, but nothing like the earlier games. 2 semifinals down. We have 2 to go on this afternoon and on the broadcast on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live. And we appreciate all those who make this possible. This is the Snow College pregame. Snow College was ranked the #1 college for student satisfaction. We appreciate Snow College, and it's a great place to start your education. Check it out at snow.edu. And Robert, already 2 down. The field looks so much better than it did. I was watching as I was driving, and that first game was very snowy, a little bit more, but the field's clear.
I assume you mean when someone else was driving.
No, I'm sorry. I was listening. I should have said listening. For any law enforcement people watching.
But yes,
he told me it was snowy.
It was really this morning for the first half and into the second half of that Milford-Layton Christian game. It was just a layer of ice, and it had been chopped up, and so there were just blocks of ice all over the field. And eventually that melted down, and that with the turf, the black rubber beads underneath there, it helps it warm up a little quicker. And so by the second game, really the field was a non-factor as far as playing conditions are concerned, and obviously even more so now as there is no resemblance of snow on the playing turf. Obviously all the way around it still, but on the turf, it's really going to be a nice playing surface to play on. And I told Coach Marshall down there, he's got the warmest game of the day.
Yes, he does, because the later one we might see the ice again. We'll see how it goes. But this is the #1 and #4 seeds. And actually, Robert, it's deja vu for me, as last year we called the same game. It was actually Dave Howard and I, but we called the same game 1 and 4, and it was an undefeated South Summit team, #1 in the RPI, taking on a #4 Beaver team. And South Summit 11-0 on the season. The Beavers are 7-4. So this should be a very competitive game this afternoon.
Yeah, and last year, you look at that game last year, and it was a close game, 1 touchdown game between these two teams. And again, these coaching staffs, these teams, it feels like for the last 7 years, these two teams have met in the playoffs nearly every year in either this game or in the state championship game. And so they're used to seeing each other in this setting.
Yeah, the only time they did not meet were 3 years. 2 years when South Summit was playing in the 3A classification, and then the other time when Beaver was beaten in the semis by Grand, and Grand played South Summit for the championship. So those are the only 2 times. So these 2 teams well acquainted with each other, and there's a lot on the line, as both would like to play in the championship game next Friday.
Yes, they would, and so it'll be. And next Friday, it's going to be better weather. At least warmer, at least in St. George. And so we'll get that. And then, of course, on the other side, and another semifinal later tonight with San Juan and Emory. For our sake, we hope Emory gives them a game, but San Juan looks like a juggernaut now with how they're playing.
They look like they're just the defending champs, look like the defending champs, and look like the odds-on favorite for that championship again. Even though they're #2 in the RPI, I would say, they played like #1 all season.
Yes, they did, and as expected.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the Snow College pregame. We'll take our first break on the Snow College pregame. When we come back, we'll listen to an interview with Coach John Marshall and talk about an interview we had with Coach Ruff of the South Summit Wildcats. We'll take this break on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, TeamHive.live, brought to you by Centricom and E6 Media.
Since 1947, Barney Trucking has built a reputation of unparalleled customer service and satisfaction in the trucking industry. Barney Trucking is now hiring drivers statewide, including Beaver, Millard, Sevier, San Pete, Juab, Carbon, Emory, Utah, and Salt Lake counties, as well as many other locations. The job includes a home daily schedule, excellent pay, benefits, training, retirement, a positive work environment, and requires a Class A CDL license with doubles endorsement. To apply, go to barneyjobs.com. That's barneyjobs.com.
Hi, I'm Barrett Hilton with TeamHive.live, where we've created a locally run video streaming platform for Utah schools. On our website, you're not going to wade through a bunch of unrelated content. You bring up TeamHive.live and you're just going to find a lot of high school sports and events. We've created tools that make it super easy for you to create events and stream to our site. And if you ever need help with anything, you can give me a call. So I want to invite your school to join the team. If you're a Utah high school, you can stream live on Team Hive. That's teamhive.live, powered by Centricom.
Discover squeaky cheese, hand-dipped ice cream, and family-friendly bathrooms all at the Creamery, Beavers Cheese Store. With an expanded storefront, you can explore our farm-to-table story, sample our signature cheeses, enjoy breakfast or lunch at the Creamery kitchen, or shop some of Utah's favorite products from specialty cheeses to local honey and jam. Stop on in and discover what the excitement is all about. Visit the Creamery in Beaver at 165 South, 500 West, now open Sundays noon to 6 and extended hours Thursdays and Fridays until 8 p.m.
Having a strong support team that you can trust can make or break an individual outcome. Just like on a sports team, our healthcare team at the Delta and Fillmore Community Hospitals are dedicated to provide quality care close to home on an individual basis. From our physicians to our nursing staff, along with our technicians and many other healthcare professionals, our team is ready to provide the best quality care for our friends, neighbors, and local athletes in Miller County. Intermountain Delta Community and Fillmore Community Hospitals, providing a strong, dedicated team for you.
The Intermountain Power Service Corporation is committed to supporting our local schools, communities, and the economies of central and south central Utah. Each year, IPSC's two 950-megawatt generating units provide 3 million megawatt hours of energy for communities in Utah and Southern California. The Intermountain Power Project ranks among the best of coal-based power plants in reliability, cost-effectiveness, and environmental responsibility. IPSC, honored to sponsor this sports broadcast.
Vince Lombardi once said, "The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have." The quote rings true whether applied to our country, our schools, our homes, or on the field of play. We applaud our student athletes for their hard work and determination on the field and in the classroom. Brought to you by Sunrise Engineering, promoting excellence in sports and education. Visit us at sunrise-eng.com. That's sunrise-eng.com.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back on the Snow College pregame. Scott Langford, Robert Lovell, and it's the first 2A semifinal matchup, the Beavers and the South Summit Wildcats. And Robert had a chance to talk to Coach John Marshall before the game, and let's take a listen to that interview.
We're joined now by Coach John Marshall, the Beavers in the 2A semifinals, going up against a familiar opponent in the South Summit Wildcats. But first, Coach, it was a survive and advance game last week as you came from behind in the final 30 seconds to beat Summit Academy. Where do you feel like your team is at now coming into this semifinal game today?
We're really excited to be playing this week. We learned last week it's a really fine line between winning and losing, and really proud of our kids. We had every reason to lose that game. 29 seconds, our kids didn't give up and gave themselves a chance, and we were able to pull it out. And so we're really proud of our kids. We're really excited. We tip our hats to Summit Academy. They played a great game, and we were, heartbroken for their kids, but really excited for our kids to be able to get to play another week of football.
When you look at your team coming into today, going up against a team that seems like Beaver has met almost every year in the playoffs at some point. You played them last year in the semis and got a one-touchdown victory. What do you expect to see out of South Summit today?
They're very talented. They're very good. Undefeated. They've earned that. They play extremely hard. They play extremely fast. And we have to make sure that we're very disciplined, and we can't have mistakes today and expect to win.
Anybody on their team you feel like you've got to slow down?
It's interesting. We don't necessarily focus on individuals too much. Of course, they have some really good players in the Thompson kid and the Ramirez kid, and their quarterback does a great job. But they just got a lot of weapons. We just have to be sound defensively, and we absolutely can't have them run the football on us. If they're able to run the football on us effectively, then we're going to be in trouble. That's our big focus. Yes, they're great at throwing the ball, but we've got to stop the run and try to make them one-dimensional if we can.
When you look at your team offensively, what do you want to see out of the running back play in this game?
Well, they've got to run hard. We got a lot of good running backs, do a great job for us. But really, for them to do well, our offensive line has to do great. And we struggled running the ball last week against Summit Academy. That was a struggle for us. And so we've got to have a little better effort there. But our running backs, of course, have got to hold on to the football, run hard. It's going to be a hard-hitting game. We've got to win collisions, and we've got to be the more physical team. We can't let them out-physical us.
Then what do you need to see out of Titan Fells at quarterback today?
Well, he's got to come out and run our offense, and we don't throw the ball a ton. But when we do throw the ball, We need him to make good decisions, put the ball where it needs to be. He's done a great job for us this year. And, in our offense, the quarterback sometimes doesn't get a lot of opportunities to do things, but he's very important to what we're doing, and we need him to run the offense, do what we ask him to do, and when it's his time to step up and make a play, step up and do it.
You two coaches are obviously familiar with each other and what you guys like to do. How does that play into a game like this?
Well, we've played each other over the years a lot. They're pretty much doing the same thing that they've done last year and the previous 4 or 5 years. So, yeah, there's a lot of familiarity there. We were here a year ago, same situation. They were undefeated and the higher seed, and we're looking to come in and try to make another upset again.
How's the health of your team coming into this game?
Well, we lost Tavin Hollingshead before last game in practice to an ankle injury, and that hurts us. He's a two-way starter, so we're going to miss him. But other than that, we're okay. We've had some kids step up, and one of the things that we're fortunate is we do have some depth on our team. And so, again, we have a lot of kids that can play. We've got to have kids step up, and I guess that's our attitude is it doesn't matter who we have out there. Our expectations are the same of what we're supposed to do.
And then what 2 or 3 things have to happen today for your team to get the win?
We got to stop the run. We've got to not give them big plays. We got to make them have to earn their points. And then on offense, we've got to get first downs and not get penalties that put us in 2nd and 20 and 3rd and 12. If we can stay on schedule, so to speak, with our play calling, that'll be a big key for us.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, great interview with Coach Marshall. You also had a chance to talk to Coach Roof. We had some technical difficulties and couldn't record that one, but talk to me a little bit about what the coach of the Wildcats had to say.
Coach Roof, great guy. You talked to him as well. Really good to talk to, and to talk to very positively about this Beaver team and with how good they are. And he said, there's not really anybody that I feel like we for sure have to slow down except for all of them. And so
both coaches said that.
Yeah, both coaches know the number of weapons each team has, and so that's what Coach Roof talked about. But he knows that there's guys that need to slow down on Beaver's side of it. But he said the biggest thing is we've got to stop the running game. If we can stop Beaver's running game, we've got to win in the trenches. We'll be all right. Then he said, and we've got to be able to get over the top occasionally. They want to be able to get the ball downfield when they have to. And then he said, obviously, we've got to score points.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because of these 4 semifinal teams, 3 are spread offense teams, and then you've got the one running team with the Beavers. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. Both of these teams had games last week that were a little closer than expected. And first with South Summit, with Delta, I mean, they were basically tied at halftime, and then they had to come back. They had to hold off a furious Delta rush at the end.
And I think a lot of the teams in the 2A South region felt like Delta was going to give South Summit a good game, and they very much did. That the 2A South, you look at it and you say, okay, well, San Juan's obviously the clear region champion there, and Beaver kind of took it to most teams except for maybe Millard in a close game there.
Right.
But they beat Delta pretty handily. They beat South Severe handily. But then South Severe, Delta, Millard all played just brutal games against each other. And I think that everybody this year in the 2A South actually almost got better for the most part.
Yeah, they did.
And as a result, it made it so that 2A South was kind of a tough one to go through. And so I think that people expected whoever came out of the 2A South that played South Summit was going to play them tough. And Coach Roof felt that same way. He said, I looked at Delta and I watched them on film and I'm thinking these guys are going to come at us hard. They're going to play hard and hit hard. And he said, and that was good for us to go up against a team that played like that. And so that, it was a closer game than maybe the seeding should have suggested. But I think a lot of people in 2A felt like Delta could play with South Summit, and they showed that.
And they did, and it was a great game. And on the Beaver side, they had a game where the game was basically over. Probably one of the most improbable comebacks I have ever seen.
I was shocked. I was watching it from Milford after the North Severe Milford game.
29 seconds left. The Beavers have the ball on the 20, a running team, and 2 great passes, a penalty, and then 2 great passes from Titan Fells to Blackburn and then to Wheatley. And the Beavers pull off a stunner as far as I was concerned. Summit Academy, a great team, finally healthy for that game, and it showed. But the comeback was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and the catch by Blackburn on the near sideline, that was just a great catch. There was a flag thrown on that one for pass interference that they didn't end up needing because he made a heck of a play downfield. And then a great play design on the pass, rolling everybody to the right, coming back to the left of the pass to Wheatley, who was wide open, had to make one man miss, and Bodie Wheatley's able to do that. Yeah,
one of the funnest comebacks I have ever seen. So now these 2 teams, if we take a look at like common opponents, they both played 3 common opponents. They've all played Summit Academy, Providence Hall, and Delta. These 2 teams were 6-0 against those 2. The Beavers averaging 36 points a game while giving up 10.3. South Summit averaging 30.3, giving up 15.7. I would actually say this game's a wash. Both have significant injuries on their rosters.
Yeah, and that's definitely hurt. You heard Coach Marshall talking about Calvin Hollingshead being out and how that affects his team, both sides of the ball. He mentioned the fact that Ramirez is a key player for South Summit, and then you told me that Ramirez is out for the Wildcats.
Yeah, he has a shoulder injury, so he is out for this game as well. So, I mean, you've got both teams with one of their key guys going to watch from the sideline, one on crutches, the other in a shoulder sling. So that could be an interesting thing as well. Ramirez, the second leading receiver and second leading rusher for the South Summit Wildcats.
Yeah, it's always tough to lose weapons. The good thing about both these teams, you heard Coach Marshall say it, is that they both these teams have depth. There are some of the teams in these lower classifications that when you have to go to the next second string, it's a drop-off.
It is.
For these teams, it's not quite as significant when you lose that because they get the numbers out, they get the players out,
right.
And so the depth is there. Doesn't mean that they don't miss those starters.
But it's there.
But there's at least you're filling them in with guys that you feel confident can step up and make plays.
This is the Snow College pregame. Appreciate Snow College. You started a degree, but then life got in the way. There's never been a better time to finish what you got started. We'll take a break and give big thanks to Snow College for sponsoring our pregame. We'll come back. We'll take a look at these two teams' individual players and some keys to the game. All this and more on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom as well as ETV.
Love cheese? We do too. If you are ready to take on the responsibility and opportunity that comes with being an employee owner, Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is ready for you. Grow with the largest natural cheese packager in the nation. Full-time positions available for every shift. Apply online at greatlakescheese.com. Again, that's greatlakescheese.com. Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is honored to support this high school sports broadcast.
The weather is turning colder, which means cold and flu season isn't far behind. So stop by Service Drug today and receive your flu shot. They have vaccines available for all ages, and most insurances pay 100% of the cost. They also offer vaccines for other diseases, including COVID, shingles, and pneumonia. Receive your injection in a private professional environment administered by licensed professionals. Vaccinations are available every day, anytime during normal business hours. Service Drug in Delta and Fillmore, dedicated to your good health and good value.
Zions Bank proudly supports our local communities and schools. We've been providing families and businesses with banking tools and stellar service for nearly 150 years. For helping you achieve your financial goals, Zions Bank is for you.
The living room. It's a great place to watch TV. Just like your backyard, break time at the office, or while on the go. Now you can watch TV everywhere. Call or visit Centricom.com to learn more.
You know what's better than a hardware store? A hardware store with a lumber mill. And even better, a hardware store lumber mill that carries top-rated Benjamin Moore and Clark Kensington paint. Plus, their color matching technology allows them to match any color. And you know what's better than an Ace hardware store? A locally owned Ace hardware store. Fish Lake Lumber in Beaver.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Are you a new CDL license holder? If so, Barney Trucking would like to train and pay you to become a world-class truck driver on state-of-the-art equipment. They also provide you with reliable, courteous support, a fantastic wage, paid holidays, solid benefits, home daily schedules, paid time off, an excellent safety record, and respect. Dependable truck drivers have been Barney Trucking's #1 investment since 1947. Start your outstanding career by applying today at barneyjobs.com. barneyjobs.com.
This school year will be different.
This year, I'll do my assignments on time.
I will listen to my teacher.
I solemnly swear.
I won't eat any glue.
I'll do my homework every night.
Every night.
Research? No problem.
School? I got this.
This year will be different. Visit Centricom.com to power your education with the best internet experience. Everyone succeeds with School to the Power of Centricom.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back on the Snow College pregame. Did you know that Snow College has the lowest tuition rate in the state? On average, you'll pay half as much as Snow as you have to pay at the bigger schools. It is a great place to start an education, and I encourage all of you who are thinking about college, check out Snow College at snow.edu. So we appreciate Snow College sponsoring our pregame. And as we take a little closer look at this game, the first semifinal matchup in the 2A classification, the Beavers and the South Summit Wildcats. As we mentioned, these two teams have faced off in this game before. This is not their first rodeo. These two teams actually played for the championship 3 consecutive years, the Beavers winning 2, and then South Summit won in 2006, I think it was 17, in which they won that one. So the Beavers and the Wildcats have developed kind of a little football rivalry. Last year, the Beavers defeated the South Summit Wildcats 21-14. And on this season, as we mentioned, South Summit 11-0, Beavers 7-4. Beavers averaging 31.2 points per game. South Summit 37.5. So the offense for the Wildcats with a small edge.
And I think it's worth noting, you mentioned the 7-4 record for Beaver, 0-3 to start the season against really tough competition. Kanab, who's obviously playing in the 1A state championship, and then going up against Minico, Idaho, who's a very good football team up there out of Idaho. And the third game is
The third game was Grantsville.
Oh, yeah, Grantsville. Yeah. That was the second game, actually, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, second week. And Grantsville, obviously, a team playing in the semifinals for 3A tomorrow, defending 3A state champs. So those 3 losses were by no means bad losses.
Not at all.
So since then, 7-1, and the only loss since then, an 8-point loss in Blanding to San Juan.
Yeah, no, the Beavers are a talented team. They're fairly young, but they're very talented, as you mentioned. And they did start the season. There was even some grumbling and mumbling around the Beaver folks about that 0-3 start, but that was nothing to be sad about. Points allowed, South Summit, this is where South Summit has shined, averaging less than 9 points a game on the season in their games. The Beavers allowing 15.4. On the season, the rushing yards per game for the Beavers, no, I've got that wrong. So the Beavers have 197 yards rushing per game. No, 264 yards rushing per game, 97 through the air. This is a rushing team.
Yes.
Yes, I totally
they're going to run
that.
the football, absolutely.
They average 361 yards per game. South Summit, 124 yards rushing, 179 through the air. So that's more balanced attack for the South Summit Wildcats.
Yeah, it is. And so with that in mind, like we said, what Coach Roof said, they've got to be able to get it over the top in the game. They want to make sure they can throw some downfield when they want to, and if they need to, obviously. But they also want to make sure they can run. And then, of course, for Beaver, everyone knows they're going to do it. Last week was the anomaly where they threw for that many yards.
Yeah, that's the first time in several years.
Yes, and so they don't want to do that, as they are going to bring that quarterback, Titan Fells, out onto the field. And I didn't catch the number for South Summit that's coming out to catch the ball as they fly it in from the helicopter.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I'll try to catch it.
Maddox Cox looks like.
There you go. So you can see that on your screen. A lot of fun. A great way to start a football game.
Yeah. So the earlier game of the day, the ball just kind of dropped right to Trey Rhodes from Ilford. The second game, it looked like the 2 players were going to rush for it, but Kanab ran out there, a kid with a torn ACL. So Enterprise was obviously going to get to the ball first.
There you go.
So we'll see what happens here with Titan Fells and Maddox Cox for South Summit.
Now on the State Farm Insurance stat check, let's take a look at some of your leaders in this game. Of course, the South Summit Wildcats led by junior quarterback Bracken Lashy. And he's a great quarterback, almost 2,000 yards on the season. He completes almost 60% of his passes. He's a great quarterback for South Summit.
Yes, he is. And for Beaver, that's going to be one of the challenges that they have is facing another good passing attack. They showed they could play it well against San Juan down in Blanding, and you got another good passing team here in South Summit.
Well, and Titan Fells, the quarterback for the Beavers, a senior, also completes about 60% of his passes as well. He just doesn't throw nearly as much. He has 1,000 yards on the season. So no slouch himself. And last week you saw that, finally getting to pass the ball and had some big completions in that quarterfinal matchup against Summit Academy. Also for the Beavers rushing, it's a 3-headed attack with Aiden Bradshaw, Bodie Wheatley, 4 actually. Tavin Hollingshead, Tate Gale. Aiden Bradshaw leads with 775 yards on the season.
And he's just one of those backs that he is capable of breaking the big ones, but he gets the hard yards too. He gets those hard 2-3 yard runs with 2 or 3 guys on top of him.
Well, and I don't have any stats on tackle after that first hit, but Aiden Bradshaw does a great job of dragging players. On South Summit side, you got Britton Woolstenhume, 427 yards on the season, followed by Kelby Thompson with almost 400, and then Juan Ramirez, but of course he's out with a shoulder injury for South Summit.
Yeah, again, definitely a big loss there for the Wildcats.
On the receiving side for the Beavers, Bodie Wheatley leads the receiving crew for the Beavers. Baylor Blackburn followed by Bentley Bradshaw with 158, 148, 126. And the receivers for South Summit, of course, the big receiver who had a great game last year against the Beavers with Kelby Thompson, the senior, 42 receptions, 1,000 yards to the air. He averages 21 yards per reception, so he's a quality receiver out of South Summit.
Yeah, and that's it's going to be, again, a great game here between these two teams. And South Summit will be receiving the kickoff to start this game as we wrap up that State Farm Insurance stat check.
Yeah, appreciate that. And now it's time for the South Creek Shell kickoff featuring a Burger King and over 1,200 tires in stock. South Creek Shell and the South Interchange in Beaver. And it'll be Santiago Amesco will kick off as South Summit will receive the ball to start the game. Let's talk about some Beaver Family Dental keys to the game also for both teams, Robert.
Well, I think we've been talking about it. Both coaches talked about it. Who wins in the trenches for both teams is going to be one of those big keys of the game. And then can Beaver establish the run? And then they've got to make sure, as you heard Coach Marshall say, that penalties or loss at yardage plays don't drop them back into second and long and third and long situations. They need to make sure they stay on track with that. And then for South Summit, they want to control the trenches, as we talked about, and then they want to be able to pass the ball. They want to be able to get the ball over the top. They want to be able to go deep against Beaver and put some points up in a big way.
Big thanks to Statman Dave. Shout out to him. And here's the kickoff of today's game. Mesco with a high kick, going to be taking about 13, but down on the ground, kicked back inside the 10. And can't see who has the ball. 5, 7. The ball's loose on the field. We'll see who recovers. The Beavers are saying they have it. And this could be an incredible start to the game. And
Beaver
it is
football.
The Beavers.
Wow,
we talked about it. Let's check out the replay on that one as the Beavers kicked down. The ball got kicked, so dropped at the first, then kicked backwards inside the 10. And then the player picked it up, trying to get a number still. And
looks like that was Boston Wollstonehumb.
It was Wollstonehumb. And then it was stripped by Jake Marshall, and the Beavers in business. They start on the 6, on the 8. And here's a handoff up the middle, and Aiden Bradshaw, you talked about it, yards after the carry. He's down to the goal line on first down.
Big run there by Bradshaw. He's had a big hole off that left side, so far one play in, the offensive line for Beaver looks solid. And those kind of plays to start a game for South Summit can just be very deflating, especially when it puts Beaver knocking on the door of the end zone.
When you give up a possession on top of all of that, you give up that first possession of the game. Here's the Beavers with a 2nd and goal from the 1. Titan fails the junior quarterback under center. And hand off again to Bradshaw, and he'll walk in to the end zone. First touchdown goes to the Beavers.
Yeah, and again, a big hole on that right side. That he could have got several more if he didn't just need the one. And so Aiden Bradshaw with the early touchdown run for Beaver. They strike first off of the dropped kick return and then fumbled kick return by South Summit.
So we didn't really expect to talk about the Beaver Valley Chevron end zone this early in the game. 2 plays, 11:18 left in this first quarter, and the Beavers score first. Amesco with the extra point. Luke Robinson with the hold. Snap comes back. And the kick is up. Looks good. Is good. The Beavers lead 7-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. We'll be back after this on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.
Discover squeaky cheese, hand-dipped ice cream, and family-friendly bathrooms all at the Creamery, Beavers Cheese Store. With an expanded storefront, you can explore our farm-to-table story, sample our signature cheeses, enjoy breakfast or lunch at the Creamery kitchen, or shop some of Utah's favorite products from specialty cheeses to local honey and jam. Stop on in and discover what the excitement is all about. Visit the Creamery in Beaver at 165 South, 500 West, now open Sundays noon to 6 and extended hours Thursdays and Fridays until 8 p.m.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
We talked about the keys to the game. Both coaches mentioned turnovers as being a concern. First turnover of the game goes to the Beavers, and it doesn't take long as they take the ball only 9 yards on 2 plays, and they lead 7-0 with 11:18 left in the first.
Yeah, if you're Beaver, obviously you couldn't have asked for a better start.
Yeah, and if you're South Summit, it's like, you've got to recover after this. South Summit well equipped to do so. Mesco will kick off again. This kick is up, and you'll have to help me with who gets this one at the 9-yard line.
Again.
Wollstonehumb. He'll go around the left side. He's being taken down. Great play. Tate Gill, the junior, with the tackle on the 15-yard line.
That was a great tackle by Gill. Looked like Wollstonehumb was going to beat him and get to the edge, and somehow he was able to grab that leg from behind and pull him to the ground.
So Wollstonehumb does. He goes to the left, just trying to get that corner. Can't do it. So Gale with the tackle. So the junior quarterback for South Summit, Lashy, he'll bring his guys up. He plays a spread offense, a lot of passing, balance with some running. And this is a potent South Summit offense. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left for South Summit. Lashy in the shotgun. Beavers in a 3-3 defense, 3-3 stack it looks like. So there's going to be a handoff along the right side. This one to Wollstonehumb. Britton has a nice gain on first down. Call it 8. It'll be second down.
Yeah, just a jet sweep play going up against the 3-man front. You're going to be able to get yards on that. How Beaver adjusts their linebackers to make sure they take that away so they're not picking up 9 yards will be one of the keys defensively here for the Beavers.
Yeah, Britton Wollstonehumb with the 9-yard gain, and it'll be second down and 1. This time, 2 receivers right, 2 left, with the back in the backfield with Lashy. Quarterback back to pass, looking over the middle. Now he'll roll to his left. Not really much pressure. Takes his time. Here comes the pressure. Pass is going to be thrown away smartly by Lashy. Great coverage downfield.
Yeah, good job. I mean, he had plenty of time to throw, and that's going to happen if Beavers only bring in that 3-man front. They're allowing him to have that time, banking on the fact that their DBs are going to be able to cover with dropping 8 into coverage, and Lashy smartly just throws that one away as the pressure started to come.
And you can see the defensive philosophy by the Beavers has been, minimal pressure except at times as they contain and cover. Third down and 1 coming up. Back in the backfield with Lashy, I think is Wollstonehumb. Nope, here's motion for number 6, Stembridge. Yep. And Wollstonehumb with the handoff, good for a first down. So Eagles landing high country chevron, first down for South Summit.
Yeah, just a nice dive play up the middle. That's one of those, let's get the first down, and then we'll go back to our regular offensive formation here.
Really great blocking by the South Summit offensive line as they angle block down to that right side, cleared a nice lane for Wollstonehumb.
2-yard pickup for Britton Wollstonehumb.
So first down and 10 for South Summit. They have the ball on the 26-yard line. Lashy stays in the shotgun. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Lashy back to pass. Looking over the middle, has time. Now here comes some pressure. Pass deep is away and well covered, but a beautiful reception at the 40-yard line by South Summit. Wow.
Kelby Thompson goes up and makes the catch with 2 Beaver defenders around him, able to go up and make the play, and you could see the trust that Lashy had in him. He waved him over to that side so he could get a little separation and then threw a strike, and Thompson made the catch.
Yeah, Thompson, look at the replays, even better than it looks as Bradshaw all over Thompson, but he just goes up over the receivers, as you mentioned. Beautiful catch. And Kelby Thompson last year was key in that semifinal matchup. Ball's at the 41 of the Beavers quickly.
33-yard gain on that pass.
2 receivers left, 2 right for the South Summit Wildcats. 9:24 left in this first quarter. Of course, the Beavers lead 7-0. Lashy back to pass again, looking to his left, has a deep ball. That one's going to be intended. It's going to be intercepted by Blackburn inside the 5-yard line. That ball was intended for Stratton Stevens of South Summit.
Yeah, great job. And this time it was just he knew where he was going before he snapped the football, stepped up and threw it. And again, double coverage by the Beavers. This time the throw's a little bit off, and Blackburn's there to pick that one off.
Yeah, you can see double coverage. Bradshaw in the front with Blackburn in the back. And that's already 2 turnovers in the game for South Summit, Robert.
Yes, it is. Both coaches, as you mentioned, talking about turnovers is a key factor here.
Beaver with the ball on their own 4-yard line as they start their second possession, leading 7-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. Titan Fells will hand off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw runs into a wall. Not much there. He might have got back to the line of scrimmage.
Much better job of the South Summit defensive line than we saw on the other end of the field when Beaver punched it in on 2 plays from 8 yards out, as this time they were able to get a big block in that hole and not allow the Beaver offensive line to open it up.
Yeah, Noah Gunnarsson on that right side with, I think, Stembridge also on the tackle. Second down and 10. Split backs in the backfield. And this one will be the balls. I think the ball was actually fumbled and recovered by the quarterback.
Yeah, fumbling on the snap, so losing yards there. And that's when you're backed up against your own end zone. That's tough.
It really is. And you lose that space. Now you're even in more of a spot. Third down and 11 coming up. And passing downs, not necessarily what the Beavers want. The Beavers a wing T offense, so they want that 3 to 4 to 5 yards per play. And third down and 11 is trouble.
Yes, it is. So we'll see what Coach Marshall dials up here for his offense.
2 receivers to the left. That is Hollingshead and Radden. Bell's in the shotgun. And now I think South Summit might have just given 5 yards back to the Beavers.
Yes, they did, as they get the encroachment signal from the officials.
With that snap set the Beavers use, that's usually good for 5 or 10 yards every single game until defenses get used to it. You get that adrenaline at the first of the game, it's kind of hard to hold that back sometimes. So that makes it a much more manageable 3rd down and 6. Same formation with Hollingshead and Radden to the left. Fales in the shotgun. Fales back to pass. Has a receiver over the middle. It's going to be caught by Bentley Bradshaw. Did he get in bounds? He did. That's a first down for the Beavers.
Good throw by Fales. Only Bradshaw had a chance to catch that one, and Bradshaw with the fingertips able to reel that one in as he had to outstretch those hands and pull that one in. Nice play by the Beavers. Both Fales, Bradshaw connecting on that one.
Yeah, it did look like his foot was very close to the line, but a complete pass. First down and 10. The Eagles landing High Country Chevron first down for the Beavers. Fales will hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley following blockers on that left side. Hit initially by Thompson and other Summit Wildcats, and there'll be a gain of 2. South Summit with a good surge on that offensive line.
And then when we're starting to see that again, we saw Beaver own it on those 2 plays when they had the fumble on the other end and got the easy touchdown. But now South Summit's defensive line is able to get pressure in there and clog those holes.
2nd down and 8. 7:29 left in the first. 7-0. The Beavers on top with the ball. This is going to be a Fales with the option on the left side. Has Radden. Radden has a block. Tries to get the edge. 25. And he's going to be near first down yardage. Smart move by Fales.
Yeah, got the pitch out there, and a good job. Radden is able to get around the end to pick up another first down for this Beaver offense.
Yeah, Trace Stembridge just leveled Titan Fales. Fales did a great job of drawing Stembridge to him before he made the pitch. The option can be deadly when they run it infrequently, but it's very effective. First down and 10. Radden split to the left. Hollingshead to the right. No, that's actually Wolf to the right. And here's Fales goes right up the middle for a big gain as he faked the handoff. Everyone bid on it, and that left Fales with a wide open run.
Yeah, good run by Fales on that quarterback draw right up the middle, and he's able to pick up another first down for the Beavers.
Yeah, he didn't get hit till he was downfield and tackled by Stembridge again for South Summit. That moves the ball out to the 38-yard line. 6:59 left in the first. Fales under center. Split backs behind him. Now motion for Radden. And there'll be a flag on the play. This one's likely on the Beavers.
Yes, it is. We get the false start signal from the near sideline, Judge.
So we saw this before. South Summit gave the Beavers 5. Now the Beavers have given it back. It'll be first down and 15. Do appreciate all those sponsors who bring you 2A and 1A football on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live. The sponsors are the lifeblood of these communities, and they make it possible for us to show these videos. So make sure and go to these businesses and support them as they support your ability to watch these games. First and 15. Fales under center. Motion for Radden. And he'll get the quick pitch on the left side, trying to get a block from Wheatley. And Wheatley will get that block, and Radden gets the corner, and he'll get back most of that 5 yards they lost and a couple more.
You mentioned the block by Wheatley. I mean, he got blown up. I got to see the number there for, was it Wolstenhume that hit him? Or it was Thompson?
Yeah,
Thompson just blew through Wheatley, but Wheatley didn't back down. He stayed in his position. Even though he went backward, he stayed in position to be able to make sure that he stayed engaged with Thompson and allowed Radden to get around the outside. Had Wheatley turned sideways at all, Thompson was going to make that tackle in the back.
Yeah, and it would have been a 5 to 6 yard loss. Instead, it's a 4-yard gain. Second down and 11 coming up. Wolf split to the right. Fales again under center. Fales back to pass. Has some pressure. He'll break containment. Runs into his own lineman. He had a great lane, except for he ran into his lineman, knocked him back a yard, and then South Summit pounced.
And that's so tough for offensive linemen because you don't know when the quarterback's going to tuck in and run on a play like that one. So you're looking to make a block. You turn around to go block somebody, and as a result, your quarterback just runs right into you.
Yeah, the blitz was there. Number 27 with the tackle for South Summit. So now a 3rd down and 12. Loss of 1 on the play. The clock ticks under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. If you're joining us late, the Beavers recovered a fumble on the opening kickoff and recovered the ball at the 9. 2 plays in for the score. They lead 7-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. 2 receivers split to the left on the 3rd and 12. Fales back to the shotgun. Fales back to pass. Has good protection. The pass is away, looking for Bradshaw. Bradshaw with a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch inside South Summit territory.
Great ball by Titan Fells, and Bradshaw, as you called it, over-the-shoulder Willie Mays style, pulls it into the 40-yard line.
Those are so hard to catch with those going straight away, as Bradshaw did a good – you see a lot of receivers hold up on a pass, and Bradshaw kept his momentum going, which allowed him to receive that one.
Yeah, great play for a 24-yard gain.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 40 of the South Summit Wildcats. Here's Fells back in the shotgun. Fells will hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley following blockers, cuts in, and he'll gain about 6 yards on 1st down.
And nice run by Wheatley. Read that to play just right as he cut upfield right where the hole was. Good job of the offensive lineman to create that hole and give him the space he needed to pick up those 6 yards.
Yeah, Milburn with the tackle for South Summit. So about 2nd down and 4 coming up. Clock continues to run under 5 minutes with the Beavers with a 7-0 lead. Split to left will be Bradshaw. Wolf splits to the right. Wheatley in the backfield with Fells. Fells in the shotgun. He'll take the snap, fake a handoff to Wheatley. Another quarterback draw, and he'll go forward for the 1st down and more inside the 25-yard line.
I mean, obviously, Coach Marshall and this Beaver coaching staff, they've seen something with how South Summit plays against this type of offense because they are reading that play very well as that initial push by South Summit's always going to the running back, allowing Fells to have a big running lane.
So 1st down and 10, the Beavers nearing the red zone. The ball's at the 22. Fells stays under center, hands off this one to Gale. Gale on the left side, hit hard, spins out, and he'll spin forward for about 4 yards on 1st down. The Beavers into the red zone. One of the things, if you watch game film with the Beavers, the other teams have been stacking up that middle and then just really keen on the fullback and the tailback. And this seems to be a wrinkle with that quarterback draw, is that it adds another advantage from the running backs.
You know, you heard Coach Marshall talk about in the pregame show that their quarterback doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but when they need him to, they need him to come up big. And so far, Titan Fells has done that in this 1st quarter.
2nd down and 6, handoff to Bradshaw. Bradshaw up the middle, good yardage, nears 1st down yardage. Continues to push forward. Now finally stopped, and it'll be 3rd and short, I think.
Yeah, going to be about a yard shy of the 1st down.
So 3rd down and 1, definitely in 4-down territory for the Beavers. The ball is now spotted at about the 12, 13-yard line. This is much better than your game, the previous games, where you couldn't see the yard markers. I don't know how you and Tyler did it in the first game, trying to figure out where
the hard part was you couldn't see the numbers on the field.
Yeah, no, that was I was watching that one before driving, of course, and, but you could not see the sideline at all.
That's right.
So Beavers with the 3rd down and 1, ball now at the 12. Split out to the right is Wolf. Here's Fells under center again. Fells with a handoff. Here's Bradshaw. Hit immediately. He may get back to the line of scrimmage. I think he lost one. So decision time for Coach Marshall and the Beavers.
Great job defensively by South Summit once again and coming up and making the initial hit there for the Wildcats. That was Bodie Moninger who came through and made that initial hit and helped drive him back. 2 more Wildcats helped pile on with him.
4th down and 1. No field goal team on the field for the Beavers. 4th down and 1 coming up.
This drive's taking too long. I only have 15 plays per drive, and that was 16.
Uh-oh. So 4th down and 1. Big play for both teams. Here's Fells. He'll hand off to Gale. Gale inside. He'll have the 1st down. More bounces off. Goes inside the 5-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Beavers.
Really nice run by Gale. It was that counter play. Come right, come back to the left, start left, come back to the right in this case. And Gale had to break through one arm tackle, spin out of another to get down inside the 5-yard line. But a nice play by the Beaver offense.
Yeah, Stembridge with a touchdown-saving tackle, but it is 1st and goal inside the 5 for the Beavers. Titan Fells back under center, and he'll hand off to Gale. Guy around left side, pushes forward near the end zone, but I think he's going to be short. 2nd and goal coming up.
You know, we talked about Aiden Bradshaw's ability to get those tough yards, and Tate Gale is showing his ability to get those same tough yards on those last 2 plays.
Yeah, Tate Gale sheds the arm tackle by Gunnarsson and gets right at the goal line. So in comes Bradshaw and Wheatley, replacing Bentley Bradshaw and Tate Gale. So a big down for the Beavers. 2nd and goal. Ball again at the 1. Down to 1:20 left in this 1st quarter of play here at the Eccles Coliseum on the campus of Southern Utah University. Here's Fels. He'll hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley trying to catch the edge. He goes in untouched. It's a second touchdown for Beaver.
And again, Bodie Wheatley did a very good job of following the blockers and waiting till that hole opened up, cut inside, and easily ran into the end zone.
So the Beavers take a 2-score lead, and that drive started at the 4. That's a 96-yard drive. How many plays?
19 plays.
19.
Well, 18 if you don't count the penalty.
Yeah, 18-play drive for the Beavers. Now Santiago Amesqua, they call him the weapon, back to kick the extra point for the Beavers. Luke Robinson with the hold. Snap is down, kick is up, and is high enough, and is good. 14-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. We come back on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live, powered by Centricom and ETV.
Having a strong support team that you can trust can make or break an individual outcome. Just like on a sports team, our healthcare team at the Delta and Fillmore Community Hospitals are dedicated to provide quality care close to home on an individual basis. From our physicians to our nursing staff, along with our technicians and many other healthcare professionals, our team is ready to provide the best quality care for our friends, neighbors, and local athletes in Millard County. Intermountain Delta Community and Fillmore Community Hospitals, providing a strong, dedicated team for you.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. What a start for the Beavers. They capitalize on the turnover. And on both turnovers. So now if you go points off turnovers, it's 14-0 for the Beavers, but a 96-yard drive, Robert.
Yeah, 18 plays, 96 yards, and I mentioned in the break, those are just devastating to defenses. And it looks like you had them pinned today. In fact, they lost yards on the first 2 plays.
Right.
So it looks like you're thinking, hey, we might be able to get a safety here, and then next thing you know, 96 yards later, 18 plays later, you're down 2 scores.
Yeah, well, and 2 key plays on that drive. One, the pass to Bradshaw, as you mentioned, the fingertip grab out of bounds that kept that drive alive, and then the 4th down rush by Gale to keep that going. So now it'll be Amesqua back for his 3rd time for a South Creek Shell kickoff. Appreciate the gang at South Creek Shell sponsoring our kickoffs all season long. Here's Amesqua as he approached the ball on the 40. That'll be a deep kick taken by Wolstenhume on the 4. He'll go to the left side. Hit the 20, out of bounds just past the 20-yard line, and that's where South Summit will start 1st and 10.
Yeah, Boston Wolstenhume with the return there for the South Summit Wildcats. A solid return as every kick's gone to him now. Three kicks have gone to Boston Wolstenhume. And so South Summit, this is a crucial drive now for the Wildcats. I think they've got, even if they don't score, they've got to be able to take some time and show that they can run their offense.
They do, and let's talk about the offense for a quick State Farm Insurance stat check. Talk to me about how many numbers of plays. 20 for the Beavers, and then
just 5. This will be play number 6 for South Summit.
So South Summit, Lashy back in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. He's in the shotgun, takes a snap, looks to his left, and he'll have a complete pass across the 25-yard line. And that will be
Stembridge, I believe.
Yep, Stembridge and the tackle to.
Was it Cutler?
I think it was Matheson with the tackle.
Cutler Matheson.
Yep.
And Tate Gale was there along with Matheson.
All right, gain of 5 on the play. 2nd down of 5 coming up. The winner of this will advance to take on the winner of the final game of the evening, which will be the South San Juan Broncos taking on the Emory Spartans. 2nd down and a long 5. 2 receivers right, 2 left. Wolstenhume in the backfield with Lashy. And here's a handoff to Wolstenhume around the right side. Boy, he gets nothing. Might have lost some yards on that one. Aiden Bradshaw coming from behind.
Yeah, great push by the Beaver defensive front on that one. And then Bradshaw, as you mentioned, coming in from the backside. But the push by the defensive line is what allowed him to do that because it had nowhere for Wolstenhume to go.
No, that's good observation. Loss of 1 on the play will bring up 3rd down and 6. Coming up, we're down to 5 seconds left in this first quarter. We'll see if they get a play off. 2-1, I don't think they will, and they will not. So that'll do it. The Beavers have their way in the first quarter of play. They lead 14-0 when we come back with second quarter action from the Eccles Coliseum at Southern Utah University on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live.
The Intermountain Power Service Corporation is committed to supporting our local schools, communities, and the economies of central and south central Utah. Each year, IPSC's 2 950-megawatt generating units provide 3 million megawatt hours of energy for communities in Utah and Southern California. The Intermountain Power Project ranks among the best of coal-based power plants in reliability, cost-effectiveness, and environmental responsibility. IPSC, honored to sponsor this sports broadcast.
Vince Lombardi once said, "The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have." The quote rings true whether applied to our country, our schools, our homes, or on the field of play. We applaud our student athletes for their hard work and determination on the field and in the classroom. Brought to you by Sunrise Engineering, promoting excellence in sports and education. Visit us at sunrise-eng.com. That's sunrise-eng.com.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
It's a big down for the South Summit Wildcats. They're facing a 3rd down and 5 with the ball on the 27. They have to get to the 32 for a first down. They're down 14-0. Lashley back to pass. Here comes some heavy pressure. He's in the grasp, and he will go down. Jake Marshall with the sack for the Beavers.
Big-time play for Marshall, and then it was Radden in there with him on that provided the pressure. Yes, Gage Radden came flying up on the blitz to provide the pressure, and that was what forced Lashley out of the pocket, and Jake Marshall able to be there to wrap him up and bring him down.
So the Beavers don't apply a lot of pressure on the defensive side, but the blitz by Radden and then the defensive end, Marshall, with a good job. He really had no chance to set up and look for a receiver. He was running for his life from the minute he started his count.
Loss of 12 on the play.
So 4th down and 16, it looks like, 17. So that'll put Wheatley and Bradshaw standing almost at midfield. Snap is back, and here's the kick. Kick is up, and it's going to be in the area of Wheatley, and it'll go out of bounds. Smart to keep it away from Wheatley. But Beaver starts with great field position.
Yeah, and again, South Summit still trying to look for something on offense. Now, even more crucial that they find something on defense here to slow this Beaver offense down. Because, again, Beaver went to 96 yards on 18 plays in that last drive. South Summit's defense has to stand up for them to stay in this ballgame.
So the Beavers will start on their own 43-yard line. And this is one of those times, if the Beavers score on this one, it's gonna be a big hole to climb out of. Not impossible, but difficult. Here's Fales in the shotgun with 1st and 10. He'll hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley in trouble in the backfield. He'll spin out, try to get back to the right line of scrimmage, but great pressure by South Summit.
Yeah, you look at how that drive, I think they had 10 on the box right there, did South Summit. They were bringing everybody they could in to try to slow down this run game of Beaver, and they're able to get in dropped for a loss of a yard.
Yeah, number 3, Noah Gunnarsson just beat the block and got in the backfield. So a loss of 1. 2nd down and 11. Split to the left is Elisa. Fales again under center this time. Hand off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw up the middle, spins, and tries to get more. He gets back past the original line of scrimmage. It will be a 3rd and 7 coming up.
Yeah, couldn't quite spin out of that last tackle there by South Summit as they were able to hold on and make the play. In making the play there for South Summit was Kelby Thompson.
Yeah,
Bring him down.
Thompson held on to that leg. And
yes, he did.
He went high from the thigh and then down to the ankle and didn't let go. So 3rd down coming up. Ball's resting on the 46-yard line. The Beavers have to get to the 47 of South Summit. Wolf will bring in the play from the sideline. For your Beaver Medical Clinic score update, I want to remind you that for the 1A championship, the brackets are set. It will be the Kanab Cowboys and the Eagles of Layton Christian Academy for the championship next week. 3rd down and 7. Fails back to pass under some heavy pressure, and he is going to get sacked by number 57, Brady Freeman.
Yeah, again, It was Noah Gunnarsson that applied the initial pressure, causing Fales to have to step out of his way. And then, as you said, Freeman with the big sack for South Summit.
And that was a huge sack because the Beavers almost in 4-down territory. And you could see the coaches going for it. But with a 4th down and 12 coming up, I'm guessing the punt team, and it does look like they're coming on the field.
2 dropping back for South Summit. Looks like that's going to be Thompson and Stembridge who drop back.
Beavers missing a bunch of players as I think they're going to have to call a timeout. As there's
just one. No, just Gale.
Yeah, so Gale comes back on the field. 4th down.
But they are going to run out of time as the play clock has ran out.
Yes, they will. We'll see if they take the penalty or the timeout.
Coach Marshall's looking like they got the timeout. Well, maybe not.
No, looks
he
like
started wandering onto the field like he had a timeout called, but I guess not.
So he says go ahead and kick off. It'll be Jake Marshall, the senior for the Beavers. He's been a terror these last few games from the defensive side. 2 games ago he had 16 tackles. And here is Marshall with the punt, high short punt. It's going to land at about the 40-yard line. Ooh, almost hits a South Summit player. That was dangerous and will be marked down at 36.
Yeah, that was Brandon Mora there. That just about got hit by that ball, but He's able to avoid it, and it'll be South Summit football with good field position now for South Summit. So they got what they needed. They got the big stop defensively, and now they've got to be able to find a way to put some offensive drive together.
Yep, here comes the quarterback, Bracken Lashy, the junior. As you mentioned, South Summit has to get some offensive continuity going, some balance with the ground and the passing attack. Here's a chance at the 36-yard line. 2 receivers right, 2 left. Thompson and Senis on the right. Thompson will go in motion, and they will hand off. No, Lashy will keep it. He's around the left side, has some room and some blockers. Gets across the 40. Really great play by the defenders, but a nicely formatted play for South Summit.
Yeah, over there, Blackburn and Gale end up making the tackle, but not until he picked up 5 yards on that run for Lashy.
Yeah, both players had to fight off really good blocking by the South Summit receivers and limit that play to only 6. Could have been a lot more. Second down and along probably 5 yards to go. It is 5. 2 receivers right, 2 left. Lashy and Woolstenhume in the backfield. Lashy, of course, in the shotgun. 8:08 left in this first half of play. 14-0 Beavers on top on the Beaver Valley High School scoreboard. Back to pass is Lashy, and he has a complete receiver for a first down near midfield.
I think they got that one out. Let's see, was that Stevens that he got it out to? Stratton Stevens? Yes, it was.
Yep.
So was able to get Stevens. Stevens just went right to the sticks, turned around, made the catch for the first down. A timing route there for this South Summit offense, and it worked well.
Yeah, Stratton Stevens, first game back, he broke his collarbone early in the season, and Coach Roof said it's good to have him back. And he gets the first down. 2 right, 2 left, again for South Summit. Ball at the 48. Lashy in the shotgun with Woolstenhume. Snap comes back. Fakes a handoff. Pass is complete over the middle. Wide open receiver. And into Beavers territory goes the South Summit Wildcats.
Yeah, just a slant route, a little bit of a deep slant route there for Stevens. And he was wide open, as you called it. And they were able to connect across the middle for another first down.
Yeah, miscommunication in the defensive backfield. South Summit with some offensive momentum going into Beaver territory. Again, the ball at the 38-yard line.
14-yard gain on that pass to pick up the first down.
So South Summit with some momentum. 2 receivers left and right again with Woolstenhume in the backfield. Same formation. 7:28 and counting on the clock. 2 players in motion. And I think they're okay if they reset. The play's kind of off, and now there's the flags come out. And really no gain on that play. That one was odd from the start.
Yes, it was. And we've seen that occasionally this year where there's some confusion. We see 2 players go in motion, but they weren't able to get reset, and so the illegal shift will come into play.
So here's the question. If they would have reset the play, they would have been fine,
I think so. I believe so.
Because
we see 2 people go in motion all
the time. Yeah.
We see 2 guys from one side of the line move to the other side of the line, and so you see it all the time, but they needed to get reset, and they were not able to do so.
So the player in motion didn't stop. If he would have stopped, took 1 second, and then went in motion again, he probably would have been fine.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know how that works exactly. First down and 15. So a mistake with South Summit.
And that is their first penalty of the game.
So Osgood-Thorpe will come out of the game. So 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left now for South Summit. If I have a complaint about the uniforms, they look awesome, but they're hard to see the numbers.
They are hard to see the numbers.
Lashy back to pass, heavy pressure coming from Gale, and it's going to be complete. The ball's loose on the ground, fumbled out of bounds by number 6, Stembridge. That was dangerous.
Yeah, Gage riding with a good tackle, and Stembridge had that ball pop free, but went right out of bounds on his sideline.
So a gain on the play will bring up second down and 8.
7-yard pickup.
A third turnover would be devastating for South Summit.
Yes, it would. 7-yard pickup on the pass on Stembridge.
Yep. 2 receivers left. 3 receivers left now. That's Thompson and Stevens at least. Lashy in the shotgun. Lashy back to pass. Quick pass on the other side to Stembridge. He'll go forward for about 4 yards. 3rd and short coming up.
Just a solid hitch pattern, wide receiver screen pattern there to Stembridge, and he's able to dive forward for that 4-yard gain and make it 3rd and really manageable in what is probably 4-down territory.
Yeah, good timing route as Hollingshead came over. Matheson with the final tackle as he found the hole in the zone. And the Beavers have been soft over the middle. That's been a place where they have struggled defensively in covering the receivers. 3rd down and 4 coming up.
6 for 8 passing now for Lashy. 1 incomplete pass that he threw out of bounds on purpose, and then the interception. Other than that, he's been on the money.
So here we go. Lashley in the shotgun. He's alone. 2 receivers right. 3 right, 2 left. Lashley will do a quarterback draw, and he tries to get it. Beavers didn't bite on that one as Matheson with a massive tackle.
Big play for Cutler Matheson. Yeah. That hole opened up, but Matheson from that linebacker position came flying up to actually get a tackle for a loss back to the 33-yard line to make it 4th and 5.
Yeah, 4th and 5. Now decision time for South Summit and Coach Roof. What would you do in this spot? 4th and 5, 5 minutes left in the half.
I really liked either the get to the stick and turn around play, the timing pattern to Stevens, or that slant route that allows you to get open across the middle. So we'll see what they come with here with Lashley at quarterback.
And Wilson Hume with him in the backfield. He's in the shotgun. Snap back, looking to his right, rolls to his right, passes away, and the pass is in and out of the hands of the receiver, and it'll go over on downs.
Yeah, Mitchell Gimpler could not hold on to that one. And he had Gimpler. He also had Kelby Thompson wide open on that same type of a route. They just did a quick button hook 6 yards deep to get the first down, and they're unable to hold on.
No, the pass was right on the money, and a great pass by Lashley, but the Beavers take over.
So the turnover on downs for South Summit, and that just puts more pressure on their defense to have to come up big once again here. And Beaver is the type of team that could run off this whole 5.5 minutes.
And they do get the ball to start the second half as well. Ball's at the 32-yard line. That's where the Beavers will start with 5:33 left in this half. And here's a pitch out, and the Beavers going backwards. Here's Radden trying to get the corner, and he's trying to get back to the line of scrimmage, and I don't think he gets back.
They're going to lose a couple of yards back at the 31-yard line. Those are one of those dangerous pitches that we saw Titan Fells able to get it out of his hands. Those are so dangerous to toss because you just don't have control of your body when it's coming out. He did hit Radden in the shoulder. Radden made a great catch, had a nice stiff arm to break a tackle, and did a good job of just getting back even to just lose 2 yards.
Yeah, and the defensive ace for South Summit, Brady Freeman, blowing up that play from the start, putting heavy pressure in the backfield. Now the Beavers with a 2nd down and 12, clock running. Fells, hands off. No, he keeps himself. There's a draw, beautifully designed. 40 and 30 and more into South Summit territory across that 45-yard line. What a great play call for the Beavers.
Clearly they saw something on film against this South Summit team where they felt like they could exploit that play because that's the 3rd time we've seen Titan Fells bust off double-digit yardage, 10, 12, and now this one out across midfield for a big gain.
Yeah, Fells already over 30 yards rushing. Is that right?
Oh yeah. He was at 15, and he just ran for almost 25 yards there.
So that was a great play call. 4:59 left in the half. The Beavers now inside South Summit territory at the 43. Wolf split to the left. Fells in the shotgun. He'll send Bradshaw in motion. He'll hand off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw following blockers. South Summit beating the tackles. They'll take him down in the backfield. And just great defensive line play and linebacker play for South Summit.
Yeah, they just kept stretching that out towards the sideline and were able to get the pressure on that offensive line and not allow them to find any sort of a hole. So Bradshaw had nowhere to go.
Yeah, Gunnarsson and Stembridge with the tackle in the backfield. 2nd down and long coming up for the Beavers.
That was Bentley Bradshaw's first carry of the game. He's a sixth ball carrier.
Yeah, the Beavers will mix it up a lot. That is one of the diversity on the running backs is a big strength for the Beavers. 4:10 left in the half. Fells under center. Handoff will go to Wheatley. Not a lot there. He did a good job getting 1 on the play.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to give him about 1.5 yards, 2 yards on that carry. Yeah, because you're once again, South Summit's, they've shown these last few possessions that they're able to get some pressure. The question is can they stop it when Beaver runs that quarterback draw or when they do go to the passing game, because Beaver's been able to pass the ball successfully so far as well.
Well, and that's, and that adds that wrinkle for the defense is they have to pay attention to the quarterback, which occupies some of your defenders. 2 receivers to the left for the Beavers. Bradshaw, 2 Bradshaws and Fells in the shotgun. Fells fakes a pass, and the pass he is leveled as he goes to throw that pass. You've got to credit South Summit with the quarterback. Almost a sack, I think, by Thompson.
Gunnarsson again. Gunnarsson again. He's been huge at getting in there. Noah Gunnarsson again was able to get in there from that defensive line position and hit Fells as he tried to pass the ball to break up that play.
Yeah, Fells unable to complete, so the ball went down into the ground, and Bentley Bradshaw couldn't pick it up. 4th down and 11. Now a punt formation for the Beavers. Wheatley will get the punt away. Kicks over to the right side away from the defender. It's down near the goal line and going to be
They're going to say it did get in the end zone.
Oh, they are going to say a touchback. That was very close. That'll be a fun replay to watch. Let's keep it here.
Gage Radden did a great job of trying to tap that ball out, but he's unable to do so, so South Summit will get to the 20-yard line. Here's your replay.
So Bentley Bradshaw.
I guess that was Bentley Bradshaw, not Radden.
Snag it back.
Oh, and you saw it hit right on that line, right on the white line of the goal line to get in the end zone after he hit it.
And you can see right at the end, it also goes inside the pylon as players diving all over the place. So South Summit with the ball on the 20. 3:16 left. Plenty of time for the South Summit offense.
Yeah, a lot of time for a team that throws the ball as effectively as they do.
So here's Lashley with two receivers to the left. One Thompson in the slot. Now motion. And it'll be a handoff. Handoff around the right side. Not a lot there. And a flag comes down late.
Yeah, call thrown by the umpire. It was likely area of holds. Carry was by Stembridge.
If it was a hold, it was kind of away from the play. That's one of those ones that coaches are like, oh my gosh, not behind the play. See what the referee calls.
They were using the microphone earlier in the first game of the day, but about halfway through that first game, that cut out.
So it is holding, as you mentioned, Robert. So holding behind the play. Yep, Ed actually was in the play, trying to hold Matheson. And he's the defensive leader for the Beavers. So that'll move him back to make it first down.
About 17?
Yep, and about 17 yards to go. Two receivers left, two to the right for South Summit. Wolston, Human, Lashley in the backfield, Lashley in the shotgun. Beavers stay in that 3-3 defense. Lashley back to pass, looking to his left. Now he'll roll to the left, has some length, and he'll get the pass complete. And probably not the pass he wanted, but it is complete for a couple of yards.
Well, he actually did have a receiver downfield that he might have been able to get to on this near side, but the pressure by Beaver forced him to roll to his left, so he lost his vision to this side of the field and just had to go underneath the Stratton Stevens.
So Hollingshead with coverage for the Beavers brings up a second down and 14. South Summit has to get across the 30 for the first down. Three to the right and one receiver to the left. Lashley stays in the shotgun. 2:26 left in the half. Lashley back to pass. Here comes the pressure for the Beavers. Passes away and almost caught, intercepted off the deflection. Here's Luke Robinson around the right side, across the 30, down inside the 25 to the 22. And another opportunity on a turnover. 3 first-half turnovers by South Summit.
Yeah, Lashley was looking down that seam for Stembridge again, and great coverage downfield. It went right through the hands of Stembridge. Might have even hit the helmet of Cutler Matheson into the arms of Robinson to get that interception.
So Luke Robinson, that's the second interception of the day for the Beavers. And they're in business. They take over at the 22-yard line. Beavers' field position has been incredible. And the 3 turnovers, just devastating for South Summit. Can they hold?
Yeah, if Beaver can put this in and then get the ball to start the second half, it would be huge for Beaver to make a big step towards returning to the state championship game.
Fells in the shotgun. He'll take it up the middle himself. The quarterback draw. He'll get a couple of yards this time. South Summit pays attention to the quarterback.
I think it was Mitchell Gempler that made the tackle there from his defensive end position for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Fells comes up a little bit.
Came down hard on
back. He did.
Yeah, came down hard.
Okay. So you can see the replay that he kind of got twisted around as he went down the ground. The clock continues to run. 1:47 left on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. Beavers trying to get into Beaver Valley Chevron end zone. Appreciate Beaver Valley Chevron, Dairy Queen, tires, maintenance, and more on the South Interchange. So receiver split left and right. That's Elisa and Bradshaw.
I feel like Fells is still trying to, he looks like he's trying to catch his breath, figure out where he's at. Coach Marshall going to call a timeout.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going to call a timeout and talk about it. We'll take a short timeout as well. 1:21 left in the half. The Beavers in scoring position. We come back on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live.
Love cheese? We do too. If you are ready to take on the responsibility and opportunity that comes with being an employee owner, Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is ready for you. Grow with the largest natural cheese packager in the nation. Full-time positions available for every shift. Apply online at GreatLakesCheese.com. Again, that's GreatLakesCheese.com. Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is honored to support this high school sports broadcast.
Live high school sports action on Centracom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back, Scott Langford, Robert Lovell, and a big thanks to all of our crew that's bringing you this game, including Barrett Hilton, Thompson Coles, as well as Aiden Kirksick, and appreciate them running this. They do a great job. Here's a 2nd down and 9 from the 21. Fails back to pass, looking over the middle. Has time, passes away, open receiver Bradshaw at the goal line, and it's a touchdown, Aiden Bradshaw.
There is a flag on the play, but they're not acting like it's going to be something that brings it back.
So we'll see what the call is. Could be, it looks like they're looking at South Summit. It could be defensive holding in that area. Yep, so that'll stand. That play stands. So at 20, is that 21 yards?
Yeah, 21-yard touchdown pass to Aiden Bradshaw.
So the Beavers with their 3rd touchdown off turnovers. So 20 points already in this game. They lead 20-0 with the PAT pending. Here comes Amesqua and Robinson. As you see that, credit the offensive line as they gave Fales a lot of time to find Bradshaw on that right side.
Yeah, and went through his progression. Fales did a good job of looking left to right, came back and saw Bradshaw come open on that far side of the field and made a great pass.
Amesqua will line up for the kick. And the kick is up and good again. 21-0 when we come back on Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live, powered by Centracom and ETV.
The weather is turning colder, which means cold and flu season isn't far behind. So stop by Service Drug today and receive your flu shot. They have vaccines available for all ages, and most insurances pay 100% of the cost. They also offer vaccines for other diseases, including COVID, shingles, and pneumonia. Receive your injection in a private professional environment administered by licensed professionals. Vaccinations are available every day, anytime during normal business hours. Service Drug in Delta and Fillmore, dedicated to your good health and good value.
Live high school sports action on Centracom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. 21-0 is the score on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. And Robert, just devastating. The turnovers in the first half, especially where the turnovers have happened, 2 of them especially.
Yeah, of course, on the opening kickoff, fumbling that and giving Beaver just an 8-yard field. They punch it in, and then you turn it over deep in Beaver territory, and Beaver takes it 96 yards to score on 18 plays, and then you turn it over, and Beaver runs it back to the 22-yard line, so they only have 22 yards to go again. So, yeah, they've been big turnovers that have affected the South Summit team, and Beaver has taken advantage of all 3 of them.
Yep, 21 points off turnovers, minute 14 left in the half. And it'll be Amesqua set to kick off again for the 4th time. Amesqua will approach the ball. Kickoff will be taken. It takes a bounce on the 10. Fumbled. Goes back towards the end zone. Now picked up at the 1-yard line. And trouble for South Summit as the player's going to go down inside the 5-yard line. That's just another tough break for South Summit.
Yeah, Brandon Moore has had every kick come to him, and that was another one that he could not quite grab early enough, and just had a tough way of trying to get that out from his own goal line and brought down to the 3.
That took just a terrible bounce for Mora as it bounced right in front of him and then took a wicked bounce toward the end zone. He tried to knock it down, so that the ball starts on the 3 for South Summit. Minute 7 left in the first half. Salashi will be in the end zone to start this play. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Wilson Hume in the backfield. Snap is back to pass. Quick over the middle pass dropped, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, well-designed play to go to Stembridge on that one. He was going to get tackled after 3 or 4 yards, but they had him open on just a quick slant pattern. Wide receiver screen is what it was, but they had the blockers in place to be able to pick up a few yards and give you some breathing distance off the end zone.
That's exactly right, just some breathing distance outside the 5, but instead it'll be 2nd down and 10 at the 3. 2 receivers, 3 will go to the left this time, 1 to the right. Receiver to the right is Gimpler. I'll take the play call from the sideline.
Down to 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get this play off. 3 seconds, 2, 1. And I don't think they're going to get it off or a timeout. And it will be a timeout called, I believe, by South Summit. We'll take another break and be back with the conclusion of the first half on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and Centricom Channel 10.
Zions Bank proudly supports our local communities and schools. We've been providing families and businesses with banking tools and stellar service for nearly 150 years. For helping you achieve your financial goals, Zions Bank is for you.
The living room. It's a great place to watch TV. Just like your backyard, break time at the office, or while on the go. Now you can watch TV everywhere. Call or visit Centricom.com to learn more.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
So the timeout after the play call to avoid the penalty, that would have taken it back even further. South Summit has the ball on the 3, and there's 1:04 left. So there's a little bit of danger that you allow Beaver some time with the ball.
Right.
With the passing offense.
And they would have good field position if they're unable to pick up a first down here.
So I wonder if Coach Roof says, hey, let's do some conservative stuff, get out of this, or does he just go for it?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he dials up for Lashy.
Lashy back to pass. He's in the end zone. Not a lot of pressure. And an open receiver, Thompson, as he'll break one tackle, almost 2. But the Beavers, Wheatley holds on. They'll move the ball outside the 15-yard line. A first down for South Summit.
Yeah, I got Thompson open on that one across the middle on that slant pattern again. And a good job by Wheatley to hold on for the tackle.
How much confidence do you have in Lashy and Thompson to just throw out of the end zone right before the end of the half?
Right.
There's Lashy in the shotgun again. Back to pass, looking left. Here's the pass is away and complete. This one to Stembridge for another first down for South Summit. 40 seconds left.
And he paid for it for catching that one, as Cutler Matheson drilled him at the 30-yard line, but another 13-yard gain for another first down.
Yeah, out to the 30. And we'll keep it here, Robert, but South Summit has looked good at times, and I think these short passes might open up the whole game. You talked about it in the pregame with Coach Roof, that you want to just do that control, balanced pass attack, and then open things up over the top.
Yeah, but these short passes are what's actually been open. They got the one deep pass early to Thompson in double coverage. Thompson made a great catch, and the ball was right where it needed to be. But then every time they tried to go deep since then, 2 interceptions.
That's correct. And you look at the offenses are one's a passing offense, one's a rushing offense. South Summit doesn't mind those 6 to 7 when they have time. They don't mind those 6 to 7 yards. And in this one, you can feel the setup coming for the long pass towards the end of this second quarter.
Yeah, absolutely, you can, because that will, even if you're telling your DBs to stay back, as they see those little passes, they start to creep up, and that allows the opportunity for someone like Kelby Thompson or Stratton Stevens or Trey Stembridge to get past those deep safeties.
Just a reminder, we're looking for a Timberline Restaurant sub of the game coming up at the end of this one. Joey, Andre, and the gang at the Timberline Inn, as they have a mobile food truck, mobile pizza kitchen, all kinds of great food with the Timberline Restaurant. Here it is, a first down and 10, 40 seconds left. Lashy back to pass, has plenty of time, and the pass is going to be intended, I think, for Thompson, and he was going to get drilled.
Yeah, Andrew Hollingshead was on him in coverage, where there were 3 more Beavers around there. Yeah. But Thompson he knows he needed to reel that one in as it falls incomplete.
Yeah, there were 3 around him, and Matheson sitting there waiting for Thompson.
Appreciate Rick Radio Robinson letting us know on that 2 players movement. When there are 2 players in motion, they both have to come set for a full count.
Oh, gotcha.
And one of those players in motion never stopped.
Yeah, shout out to Rick. Haven't seen him in a long time. Second down and 10. 34 seconds left. Back to pass is Lashy. Lashy rolling right, looking over the middle, and caught. Not quite for a first down. Coverage by Hollingshead.
Got Thompson open. They ran those deep receivers, but had to come back underneath the Thompson, and now South Summit will call a timeout.
All right, we'll take it with them and be back for more on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live.
You know what's better than a hardware store? A hardware store with a lumber mill. And even better, a hardware store lumber mill that carries top-rated Benjamin Moore and Clark Kensington paint. Plus, their color matching technology allows them to match any color. And you know what's better than an Ace hardware store? A locally owned Ace hardware store. Fish Lake Lumber in Beaver.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back, Scott Langford, Robert Lovell. Let's take time for a State Farm Insurance stat check. Talk to me a little bit about what you see offensively for the South Summit Wildcats.
Well, clearly it's a passing team, right? And with that last pass, they're at 108 yards on the game unofficially. Brad James will get us maybe a little clearer stats here at half. But just 3 rushing yards in this first half for South Summit.
Yeah, so the balance that they've been able to have all season long, not present yet this afternoon. So 26 seconds left in the half. 21 for the Beavers, no score for South Summit. And it's a 3rd down and 2 coming up. Lashy in the shotgun. Back to pass, looking left. Here's the pass is away, and it's complete. And the clock stopped outside the 45-yard line. Another 1st down for South Summit.
Stevens is really good at running that short route to get the 1st down. This one is a little deeper because they only needed 2 yards, so he goes 5 yards. But really good play there route there by Stevens.
Yeah, good coverage by Gale and Blackburn. Again, trying to not let anything be over the top, so that short under the middle route is open. That one a sideline route. Clock stopped with 21 seconds left. 1st and 10. Lashy, 2 receivers right and 2 left. Wilson Hume in the backfield with him. Here's the snap, looking left. Lashy under some pressure now will break to the right. Here comes Marshall, and he'll nail Lashy as he lets that one go and smartly throws it out of bounds.
Yeah, good job of Lashy to get that one away. As Beaver brought a lot of pressure there. Aiden Bradshaw off the backside. Great job of South Summit just to even get a block on him because it looked like he was going to have a clear path to Lashy's back, where they were able to get the block on just in time.
Yeah, that was Gavin Ross, and that was a great job of picking up Bradshaw because it really looked like Lashy was going to get hit from the backside. Clock stopped with 14 seconds left in the half. Again, 21-0. South Summit would love to tack one on the Beavers to get some momentum before the first half end. The winner plays next week at Utah Tech.
Beavers got 4 DBs, 15 to 20 yards off the ball.
2nd down and 10. Lashley takes the play from the sideline. 3 right, 2 left are the receivers.
Play clock was at 0 for a long time before that ball got snapped. And there's the flag after they finally snapped it.
You mentioned on one of the plays the clock hung up for a second, and that time it did not. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty on South Summit. And Beavers can determine if the clock starts. No. Because it was already stopped. 2nd down and 15. 12 seconds left. Lashley alone in the backfield in the shotgun. He's back to pass. Rolls to his right. Good protection. Here comes Marshall. And Marshall's going to take down. Oh, Lashley gets away. Wow. It looks like he was down. And Lashley got away, was able to throw that out of bounds, avoiding the sack.
Oh, that's one of those pet peeves on tackling, right? He hits him hard, but then just let go instead of bringing him down. And Lashley's able to throw that one away to get the pass off.
So 4 seconds left. That gives South Summit one more opportunity. It's a 3rd down and 15. They have the ball on their own 42-yard line. And I'm not sure if South Summit just says, let's see if we can get Thompson, downfield and see what happens down 21-0.
Or if they've got some sort of trick play.
2 receivers right, 2 to the left.
Because Beavers dropping those 4 DBs back 25 yards off the ball. They're just going to hand it off.
Yeah, Wilson Hume will go up the middle, and he will be tackled after a short gain, and that'll do it for the first half of play. And the name of the game in this first half, Robert, has been turnovers. 3 turnovers lead to 3 touchdowns, 2 short fields and 1 very long field. But that's the difference in this first half.
Yes, it is, and it's all Beaver as a result. The 4 seed trying to knock off the undefeated, top-seeded South Summit Wildcats.
It's time for our Jones & Mill Engineering halftime. The Beavers leading 21-0. We'll take a break and be back for our halftime show, sponsored by Jones & Mill Engineering on the Beaver Sports Network, Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.
Since 1947, Barney Trucking's #1 investment has been dependable truck drivers like you. That's why they provide their drivers with an opportunity to earn up to $75,000 a year driving state-of-the-art equipment. Barney Trucking is now hiring drivers in Utah, San Pete, Sevier, Juab, Millard, Beaver, Iron, Carbon, and Emery counties. Barney Trucking offers a competitive wage, solid benefits, home daily schedules, and an excellent safety record. Apply today at barneyjobs.com. barneyjobs.com.
The playoffs are here, and as always, Mid-Utah Radio and TeamHive.live are partnering with KSL Sports to bring you every second of the action, all leading up to the championship games at Greater Zion Stadium. Bookmark teamhive.live to watch the latest of playoff action. Follow teamhive.live on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to stay up to date and catch all the playoff action on teamhive.live, powered by Centricom.
Discover squeaky cheese, hand-dipped ice cream, and family-friendly bathrooms all at the Creamery, Beavers Cheese Store. With an expanded storefront, you can explore our farm-to-table story, sample our signature cheeses, enjoy breakfast or lunch at the Creamery kitchen, or shop some of Utah's favorite products from specialty cheeses to local honey and jam. Stop on in and discover what the excitement is all about. Visit the Creamery in Beaver at 165 South, 500 West, now open Sundays noon to 6 and extended hours Thursdays and Fridays until 8 p.m.
Having a strong support team that you can trust can make or break an individual outcome. Just like on a sports team, our healthcare team at the Delta and Fillmore Community Hospitals are dedicated to provide quality care close to home on an individual basis. From our physicians to our nursing staff, along with our technicians and many other healthcare professionals, our team is ready to provide the best quality care for our friends, neighbors, and local athletes in Miller County. Intermountain Delta Community and Fillmore Community Hospitals, providing a strong, dedicated team for you.
The Intermountain Power Service Corporation is committed to supporting our local schools, communities, and the economies of central and south central Utah. Each year, IPSC's two 950-megawatt generating units provide 3 million megawatt hours of energy for communities in Utah and Southern California. The Intermountain Power Project ranks among the best of coal-based power plants in reliability, cost-effectiveness, and environmental responsibility. IPSC, honored to sponsor this sports broadcast.
Vince Lombardi once said, "The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have." The quote rings true whether applied to our country, our schools, our homes, or on the field of play. We applaud our student athletes for their hard work and determination on the field and in the classroom. Brought to you by Sunrise Engineering, promoting excellence in sports and education. Visit us at sunrise-eng.com. That's sunrise-eng.com.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Scott Langford and Robert Lovell here from the Echoes Coliseum on the campus of Southern Utah University. It's halftime of our first two-way semifinal matchup between the Beavers and the South Summit Wildcats. And if you're joining us late, the Beavers, the first kickoff was fumbled, and the Beavers recovered on the 9-yard line, and it only took 2 plays for the Beavers to score a 1-yard dive by Aiden Bradshaw.
Yeah, and Beavers' offensive line just dominated on those first 2 plays of the game, and then it's kind of settled in for a minute, but Beaver just did what they do later on.
They certainly did. So then the Beavers on the second possession for South Summit, they start on their own 15. They had a nice drive going, and they moved it down, long pass by Kelby Thompson. But then they get down, throw a long pass, interception. But they had some momentum going down the field that second drive.
Yes, they did. A big catch, a great catch by Kelby Thompson downfield to get them that momentum. But momentum swings so easily.
It does.
And the interception by Beaver stopped it short.
And then I think you said it very well. Just to talk to a little bit about that 96-yard drive by the Beavers.
Well, yeah, even though you turned it over on the interception, you've got Beaver on the 4-yard line, and then for Beaver on that first play of the drive, they go backward, but then they get the penalty on South Summit to really open things up for them, give them a little breathing room. And it took 18 plays, 19 with the penalty, 18 plays that they ran to go 96 yards. And in the process, that they took over 8 minutes off the clock. And that's a long time for a defense to be out there. And that's just devastating to your team when you know that you had them pinned deep in their own territory and they just took it 96 yards on it.
Yeah, 8 minutes and 2 seconds on that drive. Yeah. And so then that's your second touchdown after turnover. South Summit punt on the next one. Beaver turned over on down. South Summit punt on their next possession. And then South Summit with the ball start on their 20. And then, again, a little bit of momentum, some plays that seem to be working, short passes. And then a pass gets bounced off the receiver, intercepted by Luke Robinson. So your third turnover.
And he took it back 25 yards or 20 yards.
He did.
And making a short field.
Yeah, at the 22, Beavers get the ball, and it didn't really take very long. As I didn't get the time on that one, but a short drive for the Beavers. you'll have to kind of tell me how many plays. I think it was a couple, but Aiden Bradshaw.
2 plays.
Yeah, 2 plays with that.
A 1-yard run and then a 21-yard touchdown pass.
Yep. And Fales put it right on the money for Bradshaw. He did the rest going into the end zone, and that's your halftime score.
And they still somehow took over a minute off in just 2 plays.
They did. Just 2 plays over a minute. So, the Beavers have had a really good first half. And we talk about, momentum in high school football, and really no momentum for South Summit in that first half.
No, they had the one big pass play that looked like that was going to give them some momentum, but then an interception 2 plays later, and it just killed any momentum that they had at all. Because defensively, it looked like they were going to have some momentum. They made some big plays, but then Beaver would counter with a quarterback run up the middle by Titan Fells, or a completed pass downfield to Bentley Bradshaw or whoever it was, and they were able to counter anytime South Summit looked like they were going to have some defensive momentum. Beaver countered it and got it right back.
They certainly did. This is the Jones and DeMille Engineering Halftime, supporting our youth in their efforts to develop new talents and passions, paving the way to success. Jones and DeMille Engineering. They are your local award-winning engineering firm, and they applaud the team for hard work, dedication, and commitment. The race to the finish line has no ending for Jones Mill Engineering. Appreciate their sponsorship. I don't know how many years Jones Mill has been have been sponsors for our halftime. A lot.
Long time, as long as I've been here. So, and obviously longer than that. And we appreciate what they do. Brian Barton, Darren Robinson, the other partner owners there of Jones and Mill Engineering that help sponsor these high school sports. And there's so many great businesses that help bring you this coverage of high school sports throughout the state of Utah. Of course, we're primarily focused in central and south central Utah to help bring you this coverage.
But they have their arm is long reaching as.
Their arm's really long reaching.
I met down in Blanding. I met one of their employees who has a son who will be playing in the next game, and he said, "I work for Jones Mill Engineering," and I said, "No way," and he said, "Yes, I do."
Yeah.
And he came from California to work with Jones Mill Engineering, so a great sponsor, and we do appreciate them very much. We're going to take a break on our Jones and DeMille Engineering halftime. We come back, we'll take a State Farm Insurance stat check and take a look at the stats for this first half. The Beavers leading 21-0 at Eccles Coliseum on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live, powered by Centricom and ETV.
Love cheese? We do too. If you are ready to take on the responsibility and opportunity that comes with being an employee owner, Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is ready for you. Grow with the largest natural cheese packager in the nation. Full-time positions available for every shift. Apply online at GreatLakesCheese.com. Again, that's GreatLakesCheese.com. Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is honored to support this high school sports broadcast.
The weather is turning colder, which means cold and flu season isn't far behind. So stop by Service Drug today and receive your flu shot. They have vaccines available for all ages, and most insurances pay 100% of the cost. They also offer vaccines for other diseases, including COVID, shingles, and pneumonia. Receive your injection in a private professional environment administered by licensed professionals. Vaccinations are available every day, anytime during normal business hours. Service Drug in Delta and Fillmore, dedicated to your good health and good value.
Zions Bank proudly supports our local communities and schools. We've been providing families and businesses with banking tools and stellar service for nearly 150 years. For helping you achieve your financial goals, Zions Bank is for you.
The living room. It's a great place to watch TV. Just like your backyard, break time at the office, or while on the go. Now you can watch TV everywhere. Call or visit Centricom.com to learn more.
You know what's better than a hardware store? A hardware store with a lumber mill. And even better, a hardware store lumber mill that carries top-rated Benjamin Moore and Clark Kensington paint. Plus, their color matching technology allows them to match any color. And you know what's better than an Ace hardware store? A locally owned Ace hardware store. Fish Lake Lumber in Beaver.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Dependable truck drivers like you have been Barney Trucking's #1 investment since 1947. That's why they provide their drivers with state-of-the-art equipment, ongoing training, and reliable, courteous support. Barney Trucking is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with doubles endorsement to help address our exceptional growth throughout Utah. Barney Trucking offers a competitive wage, solid benefits, home daily schedules, and an excellent safety record. Apply today at barneyjobs.com. barneyjobs.com.
Hi, I'm Barrett Hilton with TeamHive.live, where we've created a locally run video streaming platform for Utah schools. On our website, you're not going to wade through a bunch of unrelated content. You bring up TeamHive.live and you're just going to find a lot of high school sports and events. We've created tools that make it super easy for you to create events and stream to our site. And if you ever need help with anything, you can give me a call. So I want to invite your school to join the team. If you're a Utah high school, you can stream live on TeamHive. That's TeamHive.live, powered by Centricom.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. Scott Linkard, Robert Lovell, and we're here with the Jonesville Mill Engineering halftime. Champions are propelled by dedication, teamwork, commitment, vision, and a desire to be their best. Jonesville Mill Engineering, they are your local award-winning engineering firm. Appreciate Jonesville Mill Engineering. And as those online can watch the first quarter highlights, it's pretty much been mostly Beaver. There's a couple really great catches, one by Kelby Thompson, but it's been the Beavers so far. Let's take a State Farm Insurance stat check inside the Jonesville Mill Engineering halftime.
Yeah, appreciate Brad James as he's providing the stats for us all weekend long here at Southern Utah University. Total offense for these two teams, 147 yards for Beaver, 132 for South Summit. So it's not that they're not getting yards.
That surprises me. That's a little close. Of course, with field position,
Too short fields for Beaver.
Yeah.
But our yardage is pretty similar. Rushing yards, 92 for Beaver, 15 for South Summit. They had that last run at the end of the half that got them into where they were at there. And then 117 passing yards for South Summit compared to 55 for the Beavers here in this first half. So there's your total offense.
That's actually a little bit under both averages. A lot under for rushing for South Summit, but the defenses, we talked about the defenses. These are probably the 1 and 2 defenses in 2A, and they've shown that with the stingy running totals.
And looking at the individual yards here for Beaver, Titan Fells, 7 carries for 42 rushing yards at the quarterback position.
That's great. And a little bit unexpected, but great play calling by Coach John Marshall.
Yeah. Aiden Bradshaw, 6 carries for 17 yards in the score. Tate Gale, 3 for 16. Gage Radden, 3 for 10. And Bodie Wheatley, 6 carries for 7 yards in this first half. Then Titan Fells has been very efficient passing the ball as well. 3 for 4 passing for 55 yards and a touchdown. Aiden Bradshaw has 2 of those catches for 45 yards in the score. And Bentley Bradshaw, 1 catch for 10 yards.
Well, and there's the balance we talked about with the Beavers, both the pass and the running game. Typically not a pass, the pass is not their bread and butter, but with Fells, stepping up and passing that well, it makes them even more dangerous.
And then for the South Summit Wildcats, leading the way rushing-wise is Trey Stembridge, 2 carries for 12 yards. Britton Wolstenhume, 3 for 11. And then Bracken Lashy, 3 carries for -8 yards in this first half. Passing-wise for Lashy, he is 11 for 19 passing for 117 yards, but he has thrown 2 big interceptions.
Yeah, big interceptions. One really unfortunate one. The other one he threw into double coverage, which was just a great catch by Blackburn. The other one was it's one of those tip-offs that, off of a receiver / defender that makes a quarterback groan to pick up those kind of interceptions.
Yeah. Leading receivers for him is Stratton Stevens, 4 catches for 33 yards. Trey Stembridge, 4 for 29. And then Kelby Thompson, 3 for 55 yards here in this first half for the South Summit Wildcats. Again, appreciate Brad James for providing these stats for us here today.
Yeah, Thompson averages 20 yards a catch, and he's right on that, almost at 60 with his 3 catches. Yeah. So let's talk about the second half. Beaver Family Dental, keys to the second half, Robert. South Summit, do they have time? Do they have to start big, or can they, in the second half, just do the short passes, open up the long?
Well, they've shown they can complete those short passes, or at least get open on those short passes. But I think they've got to find a way to run the football, and all of their runs have been trying to get around the edge. Even when Beaver's only gone to the 3-man front, they've tried to get around the edge instead of going up the middle against the 3-man front,
right,
and allowing someone like Britton Wolstenhume to be able to go through and try to make some plays. And so I think they've got to find a way to establish the run to force Beaver to come up a little bit and then get the opportunity to get some open receivers downfield.
And on the Beaver side, what would you do exactly the same, or what adjustments can Beaver make?
I mean, there's always adjustments that you can make, and I'm sure, Beaver's got one of the best coaching staffs in the whole state, regardless of classification. They're going to make the adjustments that they've seen, but they're doing what they want to do. And I'm sure South Summit will try to adjust to take away the run by Titan Fells, but that will likely end up just opening up more runs for Aiden Bradshaw or Tate Gale or Bodie Wheatley, whoever it is, because they haven't been able to get loose. but as a result, Fells has.
Yeah, that's certainly true. And so the Beavers, I think, will just, with a 21-point lead, they'll want to play just their normal ground game. And then, honestly, in the second half, I think the key for both teams will be, again, mistakes and turnovers.
Yeah. And that's going to be the biggest thing for South Summit. They cannot keep turning the ball over. Beaver's in a position where, unless it's a fumble that gets punched out or something like that, that it'll be very hard to see them turning the ball over, because I'm not expecting them to air it out at all in this second half. And so we'll see really how it plays out in half number 2 here. But South Summit's got to make sure they take better care of the football.
Okay, real quick, would you mind doing a Beaver Medical Clinic score update from earlier games today? Appreciate Beaver Medical Clinic with offices in Milford, Parowan, and Beaver.
Yeah, we do appreciate them. And for first game of the day, Layton Christian, the number 1 seed in the 1A classification, got the win over Milford 24-3. Milford really came out and played really tough in that game. It was a 7-3 score for a good chunk of that game, and then Layton Christian got their offense going in the second half. But Milford played them tough, but Layton Christian was just too big and too deep, and so they got the win over Milford 24-3. So Layton Christian back in the state championship, where they lost to Duchesne last year. On the other side of the bracket, Enterprise came in undefeated in the 1A classification, 11-0. They had beaten Kanab earlier this year, but today it was Kanab, as Kanab got the win 26-15 over Enterprise to move into that state championship, where they play Layton Christian, who they lost to in the semis last year by 1 point. And so Kanab is back in the state championship game after that win earlier today over the Enterprise Wolves. 2 really good games that we had in those semifinals. And again, I'm expecting South Summit to come out and try to find some ways to make this one a good game as well.
I think so too. It's 21-0 right now as we head into third quarter action. Big thanks again to Jones Mill Engineering for our halftime. And a reminder, at the end of this one, we're going to have a Timberline Restaurant sub of the game, offering fine dining and professional catering. Give Sub Timberline a call at 435-438-2474. And they can do it all. They've got a mobile pizza oven, mobile catering, and all kinds of stuff at the Timberline Restaurant on the South Interchange in Beaver. Great food on the South Interchange. The problem with picking a sub of the game for the Beavers is they sub so many players. There's, the running backs don't,
we'll just call them the other player of the game.
The other player of the game. That's kind of what it's been all season long. Just kind of like, the other player of the game, because there's lots of subs.
And Beaver again with the ball first. This is a huge defensive drive here for South Summit. But Beaver's planning on a potential onside kick here, the way they're coming out on the kick return. Yeah, the hands team on. You can see there are, 9 players. 5 on the front line at midfield and 4 in the backside. So they said, we're not taking any chances. And back to receive will be Bentley Bradshaw and Bodie Wheatley. Bradshaw senior, Wheatley a sophomore. So we'll see if the South Summit Wildcats decide to roll the dice or if they kick away. Wheatley and Bradshaw standing at the 20. They'll have to go a long ways back if they do a pooch kick back there. So here we go. Third quarter action coming up. 21-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard as we start third quarter action. Here's the kickoff. And now it's going to be kicked away, and Wheatley will go back and take it. It'll go over his head, and he lets it bounce smartly into the end zone. Yeah, I don't know if South Summit was planning on doing an onside kick, but when you saw Beaver line up like that, it's almost one of those where you say, all right, just kick it away. They're planning on us kicking it on the ground here. And Wheatley did a good job of just letting that one go over his head and get in the end zone. So
South Summit's going to have to create some turnovers and then get their offense rolling in the second half. The Beavers want to continue business as usual in the first half. They'll start on their own 20, 1st and 10. Fails under center to start the second half. Fails will hand off to Wheatley around the right side. Wheatley goes outside, now inside. Nears the first down yard to gain. He'll gain about 9.
And that's the longest run of the day for a Beaver running back in this game. As Fells has had some longer runs, but none of the running backs have gone that far until that play there.
Yeah, great blocking downfield by the Beavers. 2nd down and 1 coming up. You'll see Gale and Bradshaw coming in for Wheatley and Aiden Bradshaw. No, Aiden Bradshaw stays in the game. So you've got Bradshaw and Gale. This is a different set for the Beavers with Bradshaw and Gale split backs. And here's Titan Fells. He'll hand off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw will go forward. 1st down yardage. So that's another Eagles Landing High Country Chevron 1st down. Always clean and sanitary with your safety in mind.
Kelly Thompson hit him at the line of scrimmage, but again, as we talked about, Bradshaw just keeps on going and falls forward for a good gain of 3 yards.
Yeah, it is three extra yards. So 1st down and 10. Ball's now at the 32-yard line. So the Beavers will take their time. They broke the huddle with 11, had to wait. And now we'll break. So 1st and 10 coming up. Fails under center.
8 in the box there.
Yep. Oh, he'll hand again to Bradshaw. Tripped up. He had a full head of steam and some openings up the middle.
Yeah, I'm not sure who got their hands on the legs there, but with 8 in the box there for South Summit, they're trying to do everything they can to stop the run. I think he tripped.
He tripped over a lineman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So 2nd down and 6. Bradshaw senior for the Beavers. 10:28 left in the third. Beavers 21. No score yet for South Summit. And fails again under center. Beavers using the clock. Play clock at 15. Fails will hand off on the backside for Wheatley. Wheatley with a big hole up the middle and a flag on the play. That's in the area of holding.
Now we'll see what the penalty is here. He gets out to the 46 if it stands, but it looks like they're bringing it back.
So the Beavers this could be a huge mistake. I know holding calls for a running team, they're particularly devastating.
Yeah, and that's what Coach Marshall talked about. He said we can't have penalties that make it so we're at 2nd and 20 and 3rd and 12. And this is what's going to put them at a 2nd and about 17, 18.
And so that will put him back to the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and about 20. Let's see, the ball's on the 25. They have to get to the 42, so 17. 2nd down and 17 coming up. 2 receivers to the right for the Beavers. I think that's Blackburn and Bradshaw. Fails in the shotgun. Fails rolls to his left, back to pass. Here comes heavy pressure by South Summit. The pass caught by Wheatley. Across the 35-40, breaks a tackle. Picks up another tackle, 40, the 30. The 25-20, Wheatley out of bounds after the huge gain. No flags on the play. The Beavers in business in the red zone.
Braden Oscathorpe will get the tackle finally for South Summit, but what a catch by Wheatley. The pass was thrown behind him, able to turn his body, make the catch, and in stride stay going downfield. Nearly lost the football in the process, but reeled that back in, and a big catch there and a big gain for the Beavers.
And I'm not sure he saw that when the ball was first in the air, and I think he spotted that as it was coming into his hands. Great pass by Fells, and now a timeout for, did you see who called the timeout?
I did not.
All right, we'll keep it here. Now we'll go ahead and send it back. We'll be back after this.
Discover squeaky cheese, hand-dipped ice cream, and family-friendly bathrooms all at the Creamery, Beavers Cheese Store. With an expanded storefront, you can explore our farm-to-table story, sample our signature cheeses, enjoy breakfast or lunch at the Creamery kitchen, or shop some of Utah's favorite products from specialty cheeses to local honey and jam. Stop on in and discover what the excitement is all about. Visit the Creamery in Beaver at 165 South, 500 West. Now open Sundays noon to 6 and extended hours Thursdays and Fridays until 8 p.m.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. How many yards on the play?
58.
58-yard pass play from Fales to Wheatley, and there was an injury on the field. We'll cover that in a second. Here's a 1st and 10. Ball inside the 20. Wheatley with the ball. He'll spin around across the 15-yard line down to about the 12.
Nice run by Wheatley. And you're seeing, I'm assuming South Summit's changed things to try to take away Titan Fells runs, and it's just opening things up for the rest of the running backs for Beaver.
Yeah, that's exactly what you talked about as they have to pay attention to the quarterback. It opens the things up for other people. There was an injury on the sideline, and it was Rockwell, was it Milburn, I believe?
Yep, yeah.
And he's being tended to on the sideline. It was good to see him get up and move. So
there was no timeout called. It was just the injury timeout.
Yep, 2nd down and 5 for the Beavers. Vales will hand off to Brow. Yep, Bradshaw up the middle. I thought he pulled that. Gain of 4. It'll be 3rd and short. Using the offensive line. Sorry about that, Robert. Go ahead.
No, just plow straight ahead to pick up those yards and get inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, so far in this drive, the line of scrimmage is being pushed by the Beaver High School Beavers so far. 3rd and 1 coming up. In the first half, I thought South Summit did a great job of penetration, not allowing much up the middle. Of course, then the passing game for Fells has really created problems as well. 3rd and 1. Here's a handoff. Bradshaw up the middle. He'll go in near the end zone and push forward. And does he get the call? And it's down at the about the 1 foot line for Aiden Bradshaw.
He tried to stretch that one out and get it in the end zone, but neither side line judge will give him the benefit there and saying he got down first. But it was close.
It was very close. So the nose of the ball right on the goal line. It's 1st and goal from the 1. As they'll send Bradshaw back in. I'm guessing they'll might give that to Aiden. Nope, Gale in the backfield.
Yeah, they put Aiden at the wing back.
Here's Fells at the line of scrimmage. Hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley covers in, tries to sneak in, and Does so. Touchdown, Bodie Wheatley.
Second rushing touchdown of the game for Bodie Wheatley. He's got 8 carries now for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. And, of course, he's got the 58 receiving yards as well.
Yeah, statement drive by the Beavers. They take the ball at the 20. After the kickoff, they burn 4 minutes off the clock. As we're right at 8 minutes and even, they take the 27-0 lead with the PAT pending for Santiago Mescua. And you talked about how important that drive was, and the Beavers showed up.
Yes, they did. They came out and just drove it right down the throats of South Summit. And so, again, South Summit just further behind now as Mescua kicks that one through the uprights.
Yep, 28-0 when we come back on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.
Having a strong support team that you can trust can make or break an individual outcome. Just like on a sports team, our healthcare team at the Delta and Fillmore Community Hospitals are dedicated to provide quality care close to home on an individual basis. From our physicians to our nursing staff, along with our technicians and many other healthcare professionals, our team is ready to provide the best quality care for our friends, neighbors, and local athletes in Millard County. Intermountain Delta Community and Fillmore Community Hospitals, providing a strong, dedicated team for you.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back, Scott Langford, Robert Level, and of course we've got Barrett Hilton, Thompson Coles, and others here. And we appreciate everyone who's helping us bring this broadcast to you. Great camera work and a great venue. And appreciate all the sponsors who make it possible to bring these games to you. The Beavers, one more touchdown closer to their 7th championship matchup in 8 years.
Yeah,
it's quite
just
an
incredible run.
Yep. And so they've been in that championship game 6 of the last 7 years, trying to make it 7 of the last 8. And they lead 28-0 over the South Summit Wildcats. Here's a Mescua with the kickoff. Santiago with the kick. It'll be a short kick taken at the 7-yard line. And that'll be by Wollstonhume. He'll go right up the middle and power forward. Nice return for South Summit. They'll start outside the 25-yard line.
Yeah, they changed that. They put it was Stembridge.
Oh, was it Stembridge?
It was there in the middle this time. So they've changed it up a little bit. They've had more there, but Stembridge with a good return for South Summit.
I think I'm going to request an official uniform change that they've got to have contrasting numbers on all uniforms, just for us. Well, just for me, because you seem to do pretty well.
They're hard. They're hard to see.
1st and 10. So Bracken Lashley, the junior quarterback for South Summit. South Summit, they have the offense to come back for a big comeback.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've got the ability. They have the receivers. Let's see if they can do it. Thompson will take the ball straight up the middle, and he's going to gain about 5 or 6 yards on 1st down.
First carry of the game for Kelby Thompson to pick up some yardage. And again, I think they have to find a way to establish the run.
Yep.
And they went up the middle this time. And that'll help open up their pass game.
Matheson and Marshall on the tackle. 2nd down and 5 coming up. 7:33 left in the 3rd. The Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard says 28 for the Beavers and no score yet for South Summit. Wollstonhume in the backfield with Lashley. And it's going to be a receiver screen over the middle, and he'll gain a couple, maybe 2, on 2nd down. 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, Beaver just did a really good job of covering up that screen on the pass to Kelby Thompson. They had multiple guys coming in there, and then the defensive line was right there. Aiden Bradshaw ended up being the one that got the tackle.
Yeah, from the defensive end position. 3rd down and 4. Long 4, maybe a short 5. Lashley in the shotgun. 2 receivers right and left. Lashley looking left, has the pass away, and the receiver tripped on the break, and it's going to be incomplete. 4th down.
Yeah, I was talking about Stratton Stevens and his ability to run to that and get that 1st down, just get to the sticks, turn around and make a catch, and he slipped coming out of his break, as you called it, and made it so that ball sailed high, incomplete.
And really an athletic move for him, as he almost caught that even after the fall, and so he got back up and threw the hands, and 4th down coming up. South Summit looks like they are in a regular offensive formation. Lashley goes back, looking left, passes away. This one will be complete for the 1st down near the 40-yard line.
Yeah, just ran the same play. This time Stevens stayed on his feet and made the catch.
He did. Blackburn with the tackle. So 1st down for South Summit. And you can see Coach Steve Hutchings out talking to the defensive back. 2 receivers. Looks like 3 to the right for South Summit on this set, 1 to the left, and that's Stevens who stays at the top.
That was a big 4th down play. I'm not surprised they went for it. You're down 4 scores. doesn't matter. It's not a comeback next week if you lose this game. It's a win or go home.
This is it, and already 6 minutes left in the third, so already half the quarter over. Lashley back to pass. Here comes pressure by the Beavers. He's under heavy pressure. Pass is complete. Great catch by South Summit's Thompson.
Yeah, really good pass by Lashley with 3 Beavers hanging on to him, and then Thompson did a good job of reeling that one in.
Yeah, it was great coverage by Radden, but Thompson with just great hands over the middle. It'll be second down and about 7 yards to go. 3 receivers to the left, and it looks like Senes will be on the right side. Lashley stays in the shotgun. Beavers with 2 defensive backs and 2 safeties. Lashley back to pass looking left. He's under some heavy pressure, and this time he goes down. As he turns, there's Radden, and Lashley stays down. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, Marshall and Radden back there again to make a play. And they're going to give him the forward progress at about the 32-yard line, but a big loss there for South Summit.
You know, Radden comes on the blitz, but Marshall just beat 2 blocks as he just swung his way through. 2 blockers. Really, the blockers were there. Marshall with just a great individual play. 3rd and long coming up. 3rd and 17. 5 minutes left on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard in this third quarter play. The Beavers leading 28-0. And it looks like we are going to have a timeout by South Summit. 4:56 left in the third. We'll be back on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.
The Intermountain Power Service Corporation is committed to supporting our local schools, communities, and the economies of central and south central Utah. Each year, IPSC's 2 950-megawatt generating units provide 3 million megawatt hours of energy for communities in Utah and Southern California. The Intermountain Power Project ranks among the best of coal-based power plants in reliability, cost-effectiveness, and environmental responsibility. IPSC, honored to sponsor this sports broadcast.
Vince Lombardi once said, "The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have." The quote rings true whether applied to our country, our schools, our homes, or on the field of play. We applaud our student athletes for their hard work and determination on the field and in the classroom. Brought to you by Sunrise Engineering, promoting excellence in sports and education. Visit us at sunrise-eng.com. That's sunrise-eng.com.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. 3rd down and 17, a big down for South Summit. They've got to convert this if they want to get back in this game. Here's Lashley, good protection over the middle to Thompson, in and out of the hands. It'll be 4th down and long.
Yeah, that time Beaver just about that 3-man rush we were talking about, and so he had plenty of time to throw it. And Thompson, I think, is wishing he had that one back because it almost looked like he gave up on it for just half a second and then only got one hand on it.
No, that's true. I think that's a little bit rare for Kelby Thompson. So 4th down coming up. Two looks like punt formation for South Summit.
Yeah, 4th and 15 or 17 is different than 4th and 5.
It certainly is. So Wheatley and Bradshaw back for the Beavers. Snap is a good snap, and the kick is away. High kick, end over end. Taken at the 32 by Bradshaw. Bradshaw makes one move, now up the middle. Tries to break a tackle. Great field position for the Beavers. They'll start at their own 43.
That Beaver defense, again, gets the job done, and South Summit continues to look for answers offensively. And now, again, it's putting the pressure on their defense to try to come up with a big play. And I just don't see Beaver giving them opportunities to get a big play.
No, and that's the ball control offense. This is when this offense is so dangerous because the ball control offense, they can burn clock and still have yards. Fails under center. One receiver split up to the right. Fails back to pass, looking to the receiver on the side. It's going to be to Blackburn. Blackburn tries to come back. And no flag. A little surprising on that one. A lot of contact as Blackburn tries to come back.
Well, Mora stopped. I mean, he just stopped and put his hands in the air. Right here, he just puts his hands in the air and wasn't actively stopping him. Now they do throw a flag here. I think it's just going to be on Beaver's sideline.
Might be a sideline warning. Or
so, by the way, I stand corrected. Beaver is going to give him an opportunity to make a big play, I guess.
I guess so. So sideline warning, as the coaching staff was warming. Hey, and right now I want to give a big shout out to Joe Williams running the, I think he's the replay cam guy, right? Oh, the main cam. Joe Williams is the main cam. All right. Big thanks to Joe. So he's the main cam guy. So if you really like the broadcast, Joe Williams is your guy. Joe Williams, also the owner of the Timberline Restaurant. Yeah, sponsors our sub of the game, which we'll pick at the end. 2nd down and 10. Fells in the shotgun. Now here's the 2 players in motion. On the right side, they'll set heavy to the right. Hand off to Wheatley. Wheatley cuts in on that right side. Great pursuit by South Summit. They blew that one up.
Yeah, really good job by South Summit there. Just a short 2-yard gain for Bodie Wheatley. But that's what we saw them doing earlier, and so we'll see now if that opens up again that quarterback draw play.
Yeah, I think it was Gavin Ross as he came and just swallowed that one up from the backside. So 3rd down and long coming up. 3rd down and 8 for Beaver. Bringing in the play from the sideline will be.
Yeah, earlier in the game, we just saw them pursuing so heavily toward where the play is going, and that allowed that cutback lane for Titan Fells to just pull it out and keep it himself.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw that again as South Summit's kind of moved back to that everybody in the box. You can see 9 players in the box. Fells back to pass. There's a pass is away and intended for Gale, but a great job by the defender. He didn't see the ball, but he got it on the backside.
Yeah, Trey Stembridge right in the back. Ball's incomplete.
Yeah, pass intended for Tate Gale on that right side. Watch this on the replay as Fells throws, and he puts his hands up and gets hit right in the middle of the numbers. So it'll be 4th down. Nice defensive stand for South Summit.
Really surprised that Beaver threw it 2 out of 3 plays on that drive.
Yeah, me too. So 4th down and 8. That will bring Wheatley in the punt formation for the Beavers. 3:41 left in the 3rd. Beavers lead big, 28-0 on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. Here's Wheatley. South Summit comes after it. Able to get the punt off, though. Taken at the 16. Nice move, but then, he continues going. Breaks 1 tackle, 2 tackles. He's in the open, and only the punter can get him. He does at the 40, but what a return by South Summit.
Yeah, Trey Stembridge again.
Wow.
We called his name a lot, and he was able to break a couple of tackles and had a nice cut to the outside, cut back up the middle, and then able to get some good yardage there for the South Summit return team.
Yeah, he took a big hit right at the 24-yard line, bounced off it, kept the legs moving, and I almost called him down at the 24. He got 17 more than that. Well, let's see. Yep, 16 more than that. And South Summit in business at the 40. South Summit desperate for a score. 3:28 left in the 3rd. Down 28-0. 2 receivers right, 2 left for South Summit. Lashley will hand off right up the middle. As you mentioned, have to get the run game going. That time, only 1 yard.
Yeah, gave it to Wolstenholme up the middle on that one, and really nowhere to go. Beaver did a good job filling the holes. Again, it's still just a 3-man defensive front there for Beaver, and yet they're just beating South Summit.
Well, Jake Marshall, again, double-teamed. He beat 2 blocks. He and Tate Gale with the tackle. It's 2nd down and 9. The clock running with 3 minutes left in the 3rd. The winner faces either San Juan or Emory, which is our nightcap following this game. Lashley back to pass. Here comes the pressure by the Beavers. Pass caught, and going to be a beautiful catch over the middle by Stevens.
That was a surreal moment there for Stevens. He caught it, looked down at the defender who fell down after he hit him. It's Bentley Bradshaw, I think, right there. Just kind of looked down at him, and Bradshaw had enough time to just grab his shoelaces and pull him down.
He did. Good pickup, Robert. He did. He just looked right down at him, almost like, well, there you go. 3rd down and 1 coming up. Surreal is a great description. And Beavers did not cross the line. Close. 3rd and 1. Lashley stays in the shotgun, and now it will be a false start on the offense, so a tough break for South Summit.
Yeah, trying to draw the defense. There's nothing worse when you're trying to draw the defense off sides, and then you go and get the penalty yourself.
Well, and the Beavers jumped. They must not have crossed the plane, but it was close, as you can watch here on the replay. And then, South Summit with the backward lean. 3rd down and 6. They'll take the play from the sideline. Clock runs. 2:13 left in the 3rd. Coming out to the side will be Mora. 3 receivers to the right, 1 at the top side. That's Stevens. Lashley in the shotgun, back to pass. Looking over the middle. Here comes some pressure. Marshall, double team, picked up. Lashley buys some time. Passes up and going to be, wow. What a near awesome play from Wheatley.
Bodie Wheatley, so heady. He tried to to jump out of bounds, toss the ball into his teammate so it wouldn't go out of bounds. Just what a play.
Yeah, watch this. I hopefully got this on the replay. Lashley throws it up, out of bounds. Wheatley, it's tipped up by Radden. Wheatley back, and nearly with it just, that would have been one of the most incredible interceptions ever had that worked. So now 4th down for South Summit. South Summit.
This time they're going to.
It looks like the offense is.
Bring on the punt team.
They'll drop out the punt team. So Wheatley and Bradshaw drop back. You can see Coach Steve Hutchins stalking the sideline saying, pay attention. And now there will be a. Not sure what will happen.
Delay of game.
Oh, delay of game again. You know, we see that each year in the postseason with the
play clock.
Play clock. You know, you see a couple plays almost every game.
Yeah.
And why would it be so different?
Maybe the refs give them a little leeway when there's not a play clock.
Maybe so. And maybe it's that the players are used to looking at the back judge with his hand up and giving the counts too. Snap is back, and here is the punt. The punt is going to be a nice high end-over-end kick taken at the 23-yard line by Bradshaw. Bradshaw goes to the right side, runs into his own player, and he'll go down. And Bradshaw might be hurt as he had a big collision with his own player. Nope, he's up and okay.
Just the way he went down was really awkward and didn't look good.
Yeah, the senior Bentley Bradshaw. Pretty gutsy catch on the punt as it was. Big block downfield by Tate Gale, and him and took out Matheson.
Both took a shot on that play.
I'm not sure Matheson's the guy you want to run into.
I wouldn't.
He's the leading tackler for the Beavers. So Beaver takes over on their own 35-yard line. Now, last possession, we saw the Beavers air it out a little. We'll see if they go back more to the control run game. There's the quarterback draw by Fales, and that time South Summit on that one, gain of 1.
Well, I don't know what happened there, but he reached out to put it in the gut of the running back, and it was nowhere close. Then that fake had no shot of drawing anybody off because he was nowhere near Bodie Wheatley's gut trying to hand that off to fake the handoff.
So the clock will continue to run. 2nd down and 9. The Beavers with the ball on their own 37-yard line. 2nd down and 9. Everybody in tight for the Beavers. I'm not sure they have 11 players. Here's a handoff up the middle to Bradshaw. Bradshaw with a big hole, breaks a tackle near 1st down yardage, and he'll get it. 1st down for Aiden Bradshaw. That's another Eagles Landing High Country Chevron 1st down. Chester Fried Chicken and more you can have at Eagles Landing High Country Chevron.
That's the longer turn of the game so far for Bradshaw. Nice 11-yard pickup. He's got 10 carries for 46 yards now.
Yeah, the Beavers senior has both sides of the ball, one of the leaders, and a fantastic football player. Here's a 1st and 10 play. Now the Beavers might have jumped on that one, and we'll see if they're
calling on the defense.
They'll call it on the defense.
Beaver does that where they all go down and get set, and South Summit went with them.
Yeah, I actually thought I saw another little flinch, but they are going to call it on the defense. So that moves the Beavers into South Summit territory at the 47-yard line. The Beavers trying to notch their ticket for next week's championship game for the 7th time in 8 years in the 2A classification. No, there was a flinch by the Beavers.
Was there?
Yeah, just missed as that left side of the line gave a little extra flinch. And maybe it was to the South Summit players coming across too. 1st and 5. Fails. Hands off. No, keeps himself. Catches out to Bradshaw. Blake breaks one tackle. Crosses the yard to gain. 1st down coming for the Beavers inside South Summit territory.
And nice run down to the 39-yard line. Good pitch by Fales, and Bradshaw able to get a block by Gage Radden on that outside to cut up field and get the 1st down.
Yeah, Fales took a big hit on that one as he pitched out. And the option is not for the faint of heart if you're a quarterback.
2 carries for 5 yards now for Bentley Bradshaw in the game.
So that'll 2-1, and that'll do it for the 3rd quarter play. The Beavers have this one in hand, 28-0 as we go to 4th quarter action here from Eccles Coliseum on the campus of Southern Utah University. We'll be back with more on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, TeamHive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.
Love cheese? We do too. If you are ready to take on the responsibility and opportunity that comes with being an employee owner, Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is ready for you. Grow with the largest natural cheese packager in the nation. Full-time positions available for every shift. Apply online at GreatLakesCheese.com. Again, that's GreatLakesCheese.com. Great Lakes Cheese in Fillmore is honored to support this high school sports broadcast.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
3 down, 1 to go at the Eccles Coliseum on the campus of Southern Utah University. Fourth quarter action begins with the Beavers with a 1st and 10 in South Summit territory. Ball placed at the 39-yard line. And on this drive, the Beavers have done the run game like we expected. South Summit shifts into puts everybody in the box. Fells back to pass. Here's the wheel route to Gale at the 25-yard line, 20-10. And there you go, touchdown, Tate Gale.
Yeah, as we call it, the running offense. And they bring out the pass there from Fells to Gale. And they did a great job to add one more score on the board here to start the fourth quarter.
That was a dagger drive by the Beavers. They started on their own 35-yard line, capped that off with a touchdown. 39 yards from Titan Fells to Tate Gale. Gale wide open on the wheel route and made the reception and into the end zone. Titan Fells has been on the money today.
Yes, he has. He's played very well so far in this game. That puts him out around 150 yards passing in this game.
There's a Mesqua with the extra point. Robinson with the hold. Snap is back. And the kick is up. And automatic. 35-0. The score, Beavers on top. We'll be back on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network and Centricom Channel 10.
The weather is turning colder, which means cold and flu season isn't far behind. So stop by Service Drug today and receive your flu shot. They have vaccines available for all ages, and most insurances pay 100% of the cost. They also offer vaccines for other diseases, including COVID, shingles, and pneumonia. Receive your injection in a private professional environment administered by licensed professionals. Vaccinations are available every day, anytime during normal business hours. Service Drug in Delta and Fillmore, dedicated to your good health and good value.
Live high school sports action on Centricom, Channel 10, ETV, and the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network.
Welcome back. Scott Langford, Robert Lovell. And the Beaver Valley Chevron end zone has been very friendly to the Beavers. We appreciate LB, Troy, Nicole, and the gang at the Beaver Valley Chevron. Dairy Queen, they've got all kinds of stuff. Soon to come is a Beans and Brew on the South Interchange in Beaver. But the Beavers have visited the end zone now 5 times.
And that puts the running clock into effect.
It does.
With a 35-point lead.
Yep, 11:53 left in this fourth quarter. The Beavers look like they will advance to take on the winner of San Juan and Emory. And it could be a rematch, possibly a rematch between San Juan and Beaver.
Yeah, again,
last year's championship game.
San Juan was so good and so deep last year, as they really owned that state championship game last year. But Beaver played them to an 8-point game down in Blanding earlier this year, which is nothing to look
shake
bad
the stick
about.
at. Yeah. Here's a kickoff by Amesqua, taken at the 6. Around the left side, nice cut across the 25, almost to the 30-yard line. South Summit will have 1st and 10.
Another nice return by Stembridge. He's been putting him back there in that return team. They've gotten some good yardage out of him.
So that'll put the ball right on the 30, it looks like. Yep, right nose of the ball right on the 30. So South Summit down 35-0. Clock is continuing to run now with 11:22 left in the game. And they will have to score, it might be out of reach, especially with the, I would say 2A's, top 2 or 3 defensive teams against the Beavers. Lashley will stay in the shotgun with Woolstenhume. 3 receivers left, 1 to the top side on the right. That's Stevens. Lashley back to pass, 3-man rush. Good time. Lashley turns and looks, has the ball away, and it's going to be intended for Thompson, but a good coverage by the Beaver defender.
Yeah, it just got right through his hands, off his shoulder pads, his chest, and bounced through. As Thompson, I'm sure he's one that wishes that one he was able to get back. Took the hit anyways, so you might as well reel it in.
Lashley's done a really good job of throwing on the run. And Blackburn there right at the same time as the ball, so good defensive play. 2nd down and 10. Clock continuing to run. 10:35 left.
15 for 27 passing is Lashley so far in this game.
And he's had a few drops, so it's a little bit better than that. 3 receivers on the top side to the right, 1 to the left. Stevens is on the left. Here's Lashley looking at Stevens. Has the quick little slant pass complete across the 40. And he'll be taken down by Bradshaw about the 43-yard line.
There's that short passing game that they're able to come through, and again, Stevens has been very effective in that. He just runs really good routes, and able to break a couple of tackles and pick up a big first down.
So Blackburn, the cornerback, playing off the receiver as the Beavers don't mind the clock running down as they have that 5-score lead. 35-0 our score on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. Lashy back to pass, looking left for Stevens again. Same play, different result though. Lashy turned to run before he had the ball secured.
Yeah, Stevens had it in his hands, turned to go, and ball popped free, taking away what had the potential to be a big gain because he was rolling to the outside, and so he would have had a step advantage on Blackburn there.
Can't you just see Stevens, though, just turning and then turning and going?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got Bradshaw over the top. So now they'll move Stevens on the left, bringing over also Stenbridge. So 2 receivers left, 2 right for South Summit on this set. Lashy stays in the shotgun. He'll take the ball back to pass, looking over the middle. Fakes, now he'll roll to his left, look for a little bit more time. Now he's got a lot of space. He'll take it across midfield. It goes Bracken Lashy.
Nice 7-yard run to the 49-yard line in Beaver territory to make it 3rd and only 3 yards. So good decision by Lashy. Again, when you only rush from 3, it's going to be easier to hold those receivers in check with eight players dropping back into coverage.
Well, and you can see Lashy just simply not finding anyone as the Beavers maybe have struggled a little bit over that short passing, but this afternoon they've been great.
Yeah.
So 3rd down and 3 coming up. 8:53 with the running clock. Lashy stays in the shotgun, 2 left, 2 right. Wolstenhume in the backfield. Lashy takes a snap, back to pass, looking left. Now he'll roll to his left, throws back across his body to the right. Beautiful catch over the middle. And Tate Gale with the tackle on Stevens, who came back to help.
Another good job by Stevens making that play for a 9-yard gain and a first down for South Summit as they continue to try to drive down the field.
Yeah, Lashy hit as he threw, not too hard, but not a lot of time. 1st and 10, ball on the Beaver 40 now. 8:24. Clock continues to run.
8 catches for 69 yards for Stevens.
Yeah, Stevens had a great game. Welcome back from the collarbone. Lashy back to pass, looking left. He'll roll again to his left. Here comes the pressure, passes away, and complete to Stenbridge inside the 30.
Really nice throw by Lashy on that one as a late flag is going to come in. And there's some extracurriculars happening a little bit after that play as Lashy took another shot. He threw that in between 3 Beaver defenders. Yeah. Stenbridge did a great job of going up and attacking the football to make the catch, but just a really nice throw by Lashy.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a personal, I believe it'll be roughed in the passer, but I'm not sure.
It came from the umpire, not the white hat, and so maybe it would have been the after play, and South Summit is going backward.
Yeah, so it might be in the area of a hold. I know that Lashy got hit as he threw.
Well, I think it might have been what happened afterward because one of the South Summit players came up immediately going after Aiden Bradshaw. Didn't like what happened there. And so we'll see what they're going to call here.
They're discussing it right at the 50. Just a reminder, coming up after this one, it will be San Juan and Emory in your nightcap. The second of the 2A semifinals. Again, our matchups for the state championship in 1A will be the Kanab Cowboys and the Eagles of Layton Christian Academy. Looks like the Beavers.
Personal foul number 37 of the white.
So.
Dead ball, personal foul number 57 of the green. Both penalties will be enforced.
Okay, so both fouls will. So there's a personal foul on the Beavers.
Yeah.
And then a personal foul. Both will be.
But the one of the Beavers was a live ball, so it must have been roughing the passer, as you suggested.
So that will be first down from the end of the play. Correct.
Oh, they're just calling who they call it on.
So that will be the completed pass plus 15. Oh, was the pass completed?
Yeah, to Stenbridge.
So they're doing it from the line of scrimmage, but it really should have been from roughing the passers the end of the play.
Well, it would have just been able to decline roughing the passer, unless it wasn't roughing the passer, I guess, because they could have taken the result of the play.
That's right. So they just went ahead and took the penalty. So then they moved there'll be 15 yards on the Beavers.
It's always funny when they
make
off 15 yards both ways.
Yeah. So the ball's at the 40-yard line. 8:02 left in the game. Sorry, I lost track of that one. Lashy back pass. Here comes a blitz by the Beavers. Gale with the pressure, and then the rest of the Beavers clean up. It's a sack for the Beaver High School Beavers.
Yeah, they just collapsed that pocket around Lashy. He had no time and nowhere to go with it. Jake Marshall's he's had a huge season, but a huge game again here today for the Beavers.
Yeah, Marshall actually Marshall and Gale with the tackle as those two pick up the sack and takes the ball back to the 44-yard line. It'll be second down. Substitutions for South Summit. The Beavers have done, I think defensively, the Beavers have done a great job of choosing when to blitz and when not to in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Second down and 14, 7-10 and counting left in this one. 35-0 Beavers on top. Two receivers left, two right. South Summit taking their time. There's 2 seconds left on the play clock. They do get it off just barely. Lashley back to pass. Here comes the pressure. Picked up nicely by South Summit. Lashley with the throw across the side, and a ball just dropped. As Lashley, a little bit frustrated, he did a great job of buying that time.
Yes, he did. Looking for Stevens again there. Great job to pick up the rush. Let's see, who was that on the rush for Beaver? Yeah. It was Andrew Hollingshead that came in. Looked like he was going to have that clear path, and they did a good job of picking up that block. And unfortunately for the Wildcats, they could not reel in the pass.
Yeah, Wollstonhume with the nice pickup from the running back position. So third down and long. Clock running at 6:37. Stembridge will split out to the right. Two other receivers with him. One left is Stevens. Lashley in the shotgun will do a quick pass over the middle. A wide receiver screen, and now a flag at the end. Getting a little chippy here at the end. That'll be 15 against South Summit.
Yeah, that one was obvious.
Yeah. Just a little bit of frustration. I think it's been a frustrating afternoon for the South Summit Wildcats in general. So it'll be 15 yards. And that's just keeps moving South Summit back. And it's that's a microcosm of what we've seen all game long. A lot of frustration on all sides for South Summit.
Yeah, you're 11-0. You come in as the number one seed, and you're down 35-0 here in the fourth quarter. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. And now fourth down, and it looks like about 30. 29 the scoreboard has. So it will be a punt formation. Stembridge steps back for South Summit. Bring a player on. Play clock down to 10.
Both teams running players on at the last second.
Stembridge will do a fake punt. He'll roll on this left side. Beavers there, and going to be tackled by Blackburn. And just not a lot there.
Fake punts are rough when it's 4th and 30.
It really is, because the defense can kind of sit back and wait. The Beavers did on that one. No one really even rushed the punter. And so Stembridge did his best, but just too many players on that left side, and the Beavers take over on downs. Beaver will have the ball on their own 44-yard line, so great field position for the Beavers. 5:31 left in the game. This could be your last drive of the game. Beavers leading 35-0. Wheatley will come out. So you'll see Titanfels come up under center. 5 seconds on the play clock. And he'll head off to Bradshaw. Bradshaw up the middle. He'll bounce off one tackler around the side, cross the 40, and go down to 4 Wildcats. But a gain of 6.
Yeah, nice run. Down to the 37-yard line, 38-yard line, to pick up a good chunk of yards there for Aiden Bradshaw.
5:40 left. Just one observation. I've seen a lot of good sportsmanship on both sides. We've had a couple chippy plays, but in general, I've seen a lot of players helping each other up. This has been a pretty well-played game by these two teams.
That run put Bradshaw over 50 yards on the day, 11 carries and 52 yards.
That'll take him over 800 for the season. Fails under center, waits for the play clock, hand off to Bradshaw again. Bradshaw into the secondary, and he'll go across the 30 to the 26.
Yeah, really nice run by Bradshaw. Got the initial blocking, found a seam, and then he was able to power through for a good gain of 12 yards. And that's now his longest run of the day.
So Aiden Bradshaw has had a really great season. He started the season at linebacker, and then they needed him at defensive end. He switched to defensive end and has just been great from the defensive end position, playing wherever he's needed. Fells will wait for the play clock again. We're down to 3:59 on the score clock. 35-0 Beavers with the lead on the Beaver Valley Hospital scoreboard. Fells will step up, wait, and will hand off to Gale. Gale around the left side. And he'll bounce off a tackle and go across the 20, gain of about 7.
Lowers the shoulder there, delivers the hit, and gets down to the 20-yard line. A nice run again by Gale, but another big hole created by the Beaver offensive line.
Yeah, Thompson with the saving tackle as he wrapped up both legs of Tate Gale. And 2nd down and 4 coming up. 3:26 and counting. Beavers will advance to playing the state championship next Friday at Utah Tech University. Bill steps up, will wait again. 14 seconds on the play clock. This game's been a little surprising to me with just, I think it started off badly for South Summit and the recovery never happened.
Yeah.
Here's Gale around the right side, and he'll get first down yardage inside the 15.
Another nice run down to the 14. Gale hit the hole hard right there. He was already up to nearly full speed when he got to that hole and was able to break through that initial arm tackle as a result.
So the Beavers continue to march down the field. 2:49 left in the game. The ball on the 14. Split out to the right will be Aiden Alyssa. Bradshaw and Wheatley in the backfield. Fails again. Pays attention to the play clock. 2:35. Fails will step in. Take the handoff to Bradshaw. Bradshaw up the middle. Breaks one tackle, goes around the left side, gain of another 5.
Yeah, just another good push from the offensive line, and Bradshaw able to just follow those blockers down to the 10-yard line for another nice gain.
Yeah, Braden Laws, Matheson blocking downfield. Matheson doesn't get a whole lot of publicity as a blocker, but he does a great job from the tight end spot.
2nd and 6 for the Beavers.
Yep, on the 10.
So they allow that clock to run down as much as they can.
Down to 2 minutes in the game. The play clock now at 15. Fails will wait. Split up to the right is Wolf. Clock now goes below 10. Now Fails will hand off again. This one's Deegan Horner in the game at the fullback position. He gets about 1 yard. Horner, a sophomore.
7th ball carry of the day for the Beavers.
Yeah, if the Beavers have a strength, I think it's, they've got a really good stable of running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, and Radden's also a great running back. He doesn't get any time. Horner, a great running back also.
Yeah, Radden's had some carries early in the game, 3 carries for 10 yards.
Yep.
But, there's a lot of guys that can carry the football for this Beaver team.
Yeah, Deegan Blackner also a great running back. Those are just a few. 3rd down and 4. Beavers will hand off to Wheatley around the left side. Wheatley tries to string it out, but there's South Summit. They're not going to let any yards come. It'll be 4th down coming up with 56 seconds left in the game.
Wheatley's actually going to lose a yard on that one back to the 10-yard line. That was his 10th carry of the day. Of course, he's just a sophomore as well for this Beaver team. He's one that gets a lot of carries, but just a young running back.
So it looks like Santiago Amezcua is going to get a chance to kick a field goal in this semifinal. The junior kicker for the Beavers. He is a talent. He's been solid all year long. Barely missed a 50-yarder earlier in the season. It was a close one. This one will be officially from about 25 yards. Make it 27. Robinson with the hold. Down to 15 seconds on the play clock, and the snap is back, and
offsides on the defense, encroachment.
So that'll move the ball forward, and the Beavers can actually end it.
Yeah, they can.
If they want to let the clock run, they can end it. I think they'll decline the penalty. So they will mark off the penalty. And now the Beavers will pull the field goal kicker off as they can say, let the clock run, and that will end the game as Coach John Marshall walks out onto the field. No, they're coming back on. 16 seconds.
Well, I wonder if he was expecting the clock to run. I think he's asking the white hat if that clock should run. Because if it is, he's not going to kick it. He's not going to add to that lead. But if it doesn't run, then you might as well go ahead and kick the field goal.
Well, and you wonder if you don't let your kicker, have an opportunity at a kick just for experience sake.
Yeah.
Just to get some confidence. So it looks like.
But it's running clock, so it should run regardless.
Right. They will decline the penalty.
They're going to decline it.
Yeah. And so they will line up for the field goal. The clock will start. The clock does start now. 15 seconds. And Coach John Marshall's just telling these guys to come over. He said, we're not going to kick a field goal. Impressive victory for the Beavers as they blanked the South Summit Wildcats 35-0. And just, it's an upset, number 4 and number 1. So the number 1 seed falls into 2A tournament. But impressive game for the Beavers overall. Yeah,
they looked really good. Again, last week was their first really close game that they've had. I mean, Millard battled them pretty tough, but it's the first time they've had a close game other than the loss to San Juan since week 3.
Yeah.
And so I think that was sometimes that's a good thing for a team to have one of those kind of games to propel them forward as long as you win that kind of game.
That's true.
And it propelled them here today and really just took it to South Summit. South Summit, the fumble on the opening kickoff by the Wildcats got them on their heels early, and they just never recovered.
Yeah, it was devastating. So that'll do it for this game. 35-0. We've got a post-game coming up. Sunrise Engineering sponsors our post-games, creating solutions that work and relationships that last. Check them out at sunrise-eng.com. We'll take a break and be back with our post-game show after this on the Mid-Utah Radio Sports Network, teamhive.live, all powered by Centricom and ETV.